BYU quarterback is one of the most recognizable positions in college sports. For now, the torch belongs to junior Kevin Federer. His mission to redeem an uncharacteristic 5-loss season. At Alabama, the legend of Bear Bryant stands as tall as Denny's chimes. Several have tried to carry on the legacy, but success has been short-lived. Mike Dubose, who's once a favorite son around here, but a turbulent first season, has turned up the heat on this determined coach and his revamped staff. Cover your ears, Bear. Yes, the Tide plans to roll out a wide-open passing attack this year. But with the project still under construction, Bama's #1 option is tailback Shaun Alexander. A renewed commitment for his final season. He hopes to run the Tide back to respectability. Bryant-Denny Stadium on a very warm evening in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Cougars of BYU come calling against the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin. Welcome once again to primetime college football right here on ESPN. Over the next 12 weeks, we'll bring you some of the most exciting games from here in the SEC, from the Big Ten to the ACC, and also the Big East. And I may be a little prejudiced, but I think there are a lot of you who agree with me. There's something really special about Saturday night college football under the lights. BYU comes into this ball game tonight starting their final season in the Western Athletic Conference. And they go up against an Alabama team that was 4-7 last year, and oddly enough, an Alabama team that did not win a home game here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. They've got a lot of rebounding to do. And in fact, their players told us this week they're ready to get that started right here tonight. Adrian Karsten and Mike Gottfried are standing by. They'll be here on the telecast with me tonight. Right now, let's pause for this message. It's BYU and Alabama coming up next. Tuscaloosa, it's filled to capacity, and as we mentioned earlier, it's a very warm night for the Cougars and the Crimson Tide. And how about Shaun Alexander? Boy, what a career he has had here. That Bama backfield is all his this season. Not quite what we're accustomed to seeing from either team. For that matter, though, as I promised Mike Gottfried back with us on the telecast, and Mike, I feel so strange in introducing you and getting you to talk about Alabama's passing game. Not their defense, but their passing game.
Ron, it's Air Bama, and when you look at watching him in practice, I like what I see. But Mike Dubose, when he's decided on this offense for 3 reasons. 1, when he was a defensive coordinator, it gave him the most problems. 2, you got to win the SEC. You have to score. Florida set the bar on that regard. Number 3, recruiting. He thinks he can recruit better players by throwing the football around and having fun. And I believe their offense is going to be successful, but the key in the ball game is going to be Shaun Alexander running the football.
Mike, you talk about changes in 1998. Now here I'm about to ask you about BYU, and I'm not going to talk about their passing game. I want to know about their defense. Things have flip-flopped, haven't they?
It's unbelievable when you talk about BYU and you're going to talk about their defensive football team. But when I was out there last Wednesday to watch their scrimmage, talking to Lavelle Edwards, their head coach, he said, Mike, this is the best front 7 we've ever had. So the defense will carry him. Rob Morris, a linebacker, sideline to sideline guy. Ron, he's a very emotional player.
He is their bell cow. There's no doubt about that. One last question. 6-5 last year, Mike, for BYU. 4-7 for Alabama. There's pressure on both teams. Is there more pressure on one than the other?
I don't think there's any doubt. Both staffs feel pressure. Lavelle Edwards has been there for a long time at BYU. Mike Dubose, first season, 4-7. I think he feels more pressure. I think his program's headed in the right direction.
Speaking of Lavelle Edwards, as you look at Mike Dubose in his 2nd season, for Lavelle, this is his 27th year. And it doesn't take long to figure he has averaged 9 wins a season since being in Provo, Utah. The weather, we have mentioned a couple of times that it's a very warm night here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 89 degrees. The heat index is 93. The humidity, actually, we're a little lucky. It's only 33%, and the wind is calm. It will not really be a factor in our ball game this evening. BYU wins the toss. They have deferred. It will be Alabama receiving. Potchman will kick it off. Fernando Bryant, one of the deep men, along with Arvin Richard. Arvin on the near side, number 26. And this 98 season is underway for both, and we're going to have a flag as the kick goes out of bounds. And it gives us an opportunity to bring in the big blonde guy. Adrian Karsten, how are you tonight?
Great, Ron. Thanks very much. Hard not to be in front of 84,000 people. You know, even though this young man has been here 5 years now and he's only thrown 2 previous passes in his college football career, tonight, John David Phillips gets his first start at quarterback for the Crimson Tide. He tells me one of the reasons he hasn't played a lot in the past is because he was so much of a perfectionist. He had to be precise. But he reminds me of one other thing. He's no longer afraid to make mistakes. And remember the last man to kick off the season in Tuscaloosa? Joe Namath, Ron.
Alrighty. The out-of-bounds kick, they take it at the 35-yard line. We'll check the starting lineups for the Crimson Tide in just a moment. Counter. Shaun Alexander is going to take it for 3 as he will be knocked down by guess who? Rob Morris. Offensively for the Crimson Tide, John David Phillips. He'll have McClintock and Alexander. The receivers, Terry Jones, straight out of high school right here in Tuscaloosa at tight end. Quincy Jackson and Michael Vaughn, the receivers. And the offensive line, only Samuels and Hogan at tackle and center have really any experience. Red Mill, McDonald, and Cuthbert with 1 start each. So a very green offensive line. You hear the reaction from the crowd from the shift. Quick pass, tipped in the air, and it's going to be complete to Quincy Jackson. Ball is loose, but they say he was down at the 46, and that will be the initial first down of the night. Defensively for Brigham Young, they run from a 4-3. Field, Yancey, Mongolay, and Frisch. The linebackers, Morris, Stevenson, and Martin. And in the secondary, they hope that these corners can play bump and run. Gray and Robertson, Ellison and Walker are the safeties. There's a good look at Morris. He's already recorded 1 tackle. Screen pass, Jackson right over the middle, try to spring him loose, and they'll have him to midfield, down at the 50-yard line.
And Ron, you mentioned the crowd being into this ball game. They like the offense right now early in this ball game. Safe throws for John David Phillips. You like the receivers. A lot of different formations here in the first 3 plays. So Alabama showing BYU, I'm sure, a lot of things that they haven't seen on tape.
Neil Callaway, the offensive coordinator, said as many offensive coaches do when you have a first-time quarterback. You find his comfort zone and let him start that way. Here's a great comfort zone. Alexander takes it for almost 5 yards. Mongolay down at the bottom of the stack. I think if Shaun carries the ball 30 to 35 times tonight, Mike, Alabama's in good shape.
Well, I think they're going to win the ball game if this player right here, Shaun Alexander, has the kind of night that he's accustomed to having. You see in 1997, average 4.6 yards per carry. He's the key. He's the best football player on this field. He has to touch the football 25, 30 times running the ball, another 5, 6 catching the ball.
3rd down and short, only 1 wide receiver with 2 tight ends, and McClintock, the fullback, takes it straight ahead. Stevenson will put the stop on him, but it's going to be back-to-back first downs for the Crimson Tide.
And another thing I wanted to mention, Ron, here early in the ballgame, both these teams are coming off, so-so years, 4-7 for Alabama, BYU, 1 out of 4 in the last 4 games. They won 1. So their confidence level's not high coming into the season. So you'd like some good things to happen if you're the head coach of both these teams early in the ball game.
That's Calvin Hall at the top of your screen. Michael Vaughn down to the bottom of your screen. In fact, that's Vaughn in motion. First down, the line to make the 34. Pressure, and he's going to be sacked. That's Rob Morris coming on the blitz. You know, one of the things he told me a week ago Saturday in Provo after the scrimmage, I said, are you a goal setter? He said, not really. However, I take that back. I only had 1 sack last year, and I want to have at least a sack every ball game this year.
He got 1 here, Ron, and this is the question mark you have to ask about the Alabama football team. All of a sudden, you can say you're going to throw the football, but you still have to protect your quarterback. And he has to recognize blitz and get rid of the football.
Fernando Bryant, who plays cornerback, is in on offense. Number 25 at wide receiver. One of the 4 men to the top of the screen. Pass in isolation back to the short side. No, Calvin Hall hit and tackled immediately. And Mike, I think with Robertson coming up to make that stop, this is the question that the defensive coaches from BYU wanted answered quickly. That if they can cover man on the outside in given situations, then they can play a lot more chancy inside.
There's no doubt, Ron. These are 2 junior college corners that have come into BYU and have really helped them. And you're exactly right. If they can shut down the outside, then they can help with the safeties and linebackers.
Coach Smith's 17th season at BYU looks over his defense that now has a third down at about 15 against Alabama. Pass is caught. Did Jackson get it in bounds? He did. And that's enough for the first down. A gain of 15 as Robertson was over to cover, but not close enough.
And Ron, that was a good throw. John David Phillips, who's had limited action. He came in here as a quarterback. He was moved to defensive back. Then he was moved to wide receiver. He's 1 of 3 passing last year. And Charlie Stubbs, the quarterback coach, said if he wouldn't have been moved, he would have been further along as a quarterback. But I like what I see here early of John David Phillips.
Looks very poised. Another first down. The ball just inside the BYU 35-yard line. You've just joined us, just under 11 minutes to play, opening quarter. No score. Blitz again. That's Morris. Gets the pass away. Has it complete to Bowens. And now bumped out of bounds as he goes inside the 25 at the 24 for the first down.
The other thing I like about what they're doing is the little sprint out with John David Phillips. Rob Morris got the sack in the last series. Now you move him around a little bit. The bigger blitz is coming. Here comes the blitz. Number 44, Rob Morris again blitzing, but they had John David Phillips on the move, and that caused the completion of Tim Bowens.
So the Crimson Tide with a very nice-looking opening drive. They have it with a second down and short. Actually did not pick up the first down. It's McClintock who moves up into the slot on the right side. Alexander will take it for the first down. And Darren Yancey, number 97, a big senior out of Blackfoot, Idaho, is there to corral him.
The reason I like what they're doing here at Alabama is when you play a conventional offense, you run against sometimes 7- and 8-man fronts. Now you're going to have a spread offense where you're going to have Shaun Alexander. They're going to open things up, and there's going to be some creases to stick this tailback through. He's 6 foot 209 and an outstanding running back.
Mike, number 2, Eric Locke, a freshman out of Murfreesboro, checks into the game. He's only 5'9", 185. And he is out of your picture off the bottom of the screen at wide receiver. And now some confusion, and Alabama has to call a timeout to keep from getting that 5-yard penalty. So we'll take a break with them. 11, or let's make it 10-17 left in this first quarter. No score. The Tide driving. ESPN's presentation of college football, BYU versus Alabama, is brought to you by Infinity. Own one and you'll understand. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Denny chimes right in the heart of campus here in Tuscaloosa. The chimes ring every half hour and plays the alma mater every night at 10:02. So it is a first down. The numbers on Phillips, how about this? 5 of 5, 40 yards. Jackson with 3 catches for 27. Alexander in motion. They come with pressure. They break the fullback. McClintock has 5, has 9, and maybe 10. He will have the first down. Walker from the secondary. Let's count it off at 12.
Well, they motioned Shaun Alexander to the left. Dustin McClintock, the fullback. He had just 2 carries last year as a redshirt freshman. He may be the most valuable guy on this offense because, Ron, they ask him to do so many things. He blocks as a fullback. He plays as a tight end. He runs the football. He'll catch the football. He'll be in motion. This is a young man that is a key to this offense.
Fernando Bryant comes in again at wide receivers. You see 4 men set to the top of the screen. First down, Alabama. They can pick up a first down without scoring. Quarterback draw at the 5, at the 3, at the 2. He may have the first down. Rob Morris tripped him up, but John David Phillips headed toward the end zone, and it will be a 1st and goal, Alabama.
Well, the problem for BYU right now is they've not seen Alabama do this. So all these formations have confused their players. All of a sudden now you have no backs, and look at the hole that's going to open right here for John David Phillips to just sneak right through on the quarterback draw. And then he had a good lead by Paul Hogan, the center. That's a John Elway play of the Denver Broncos when they get inside that 10-yard line.
You see the ball just inside the 1-yard line. McClintock does not get in as he tries to go over the top. and he'll be spotted at about the half-yard line. That's Chris Ellison, the strong safety, down at the bottom of the pile.
The other thing, if you travel all the way from BYU in here, you do not want this crowd to get in this game, and they have allowed this crowd now to get in the ball game. This crowd is totally with this Alabama offensive football team.
Lavelle Edwards, as we mentioned, averaging 9 wins a year. He's in his 27th season at Provo, Utah. Jones and Crutchfield, the tight ends. Second down. This is the 14th play. Straight ahead again with the fullback, and he is denied. Derek Stevenson this time is there to hit McClintock.
Ron, there's not a lot of movement in that offensive line. And I'll say this. When you spend a lot of time throwing the football, now coming off the ball and in goal line situations, you're not as good because you're working a lot on pass protection. I think they've got to give the ball to Shaun Alexander, or John David Phillips got to sneak it across. He's close enough, but when you take the ball off the line of scrimmage, you usually want your tailback to have his hands on it.
Well, let's see if he gets it. Number 37, Shaun Alexander, man at the top of the eye, and a movement by the Crimson Tide. It's going to cost him 5 yards. And boy, Terry Jones, the freshman, had to pay for it with an elbow to the head. Whoa.
A lot of young players, and that's a mistake you can't have. Oh, first game jitters, the freshman tight end moving a little bit.
Ball before the snap. Ball start. Left end. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still. Third down.
Ron Gilbert, our referee tonight. So Terry Jones, who played his high school football right here at Central in Tuscaloosa. Of course, his dad is the weight coach. Played under Coach Bryant here. Went on. It's been 8 wonderful years with the Green Bay Packers. Now, as I said, the strength coach here for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Ron, keep your eye on Dustin McClintock, the fullback. Now, he's a key player in this offense.
Well, they take it with Shaun Alexander. He'll cut it up, and he will score. Boy, we got 7:29 left to play in the opening quarter. BYU has still not seen the football as Flugner comes on to attempt the extra point. Junior out of Sarasota. Kick is right down the middle. So the Alabama Crimson Tide started at their own 35. 15 plays later, they put it in the end zone. We'll be right back. 7-0 Alabama on top. Diaz will kick it off for the Crimson Tide, and back in a deep safety. We'll take a look at a moment to take one more look at the touchdown.
Well, 2 good blocks here, Ron, to get Alexander in the end zone. First, you're going to see the tight end, Crutchfield, with a good block here. Now look at number 30. The fullback, Dustin McClintock. He gets the key block to get Shaun Alexander in the end zone.
Ronnie Jenkins from the 3-yard line. Takes it out across the 25 in the neighborhood of the 29, so a 26-yard return. Here are the lineups for BYU. Federer gets the start at quarterback. Sataki is his fullback, and Ronnie Jenkins the tailback. The receivers will be Hooks and Roderick, and Hoff-Hanaway. Tavita Hoff-Hanaway is the tight end. Up front with the offensive line, it's Tate, Skiba, Richards, Johnson, and Joe Wong. Veteran offensive line, particularly strong at the tackle positions. Federer last year broke an ankle. Had to leave at halftime of the Rice game and was gone for 3.5 contests. And when he came back, he was a little green again. It was his first year rather than coming through the system, so to speak. Lost the grip on the ball, couldn't throw the pass, and he's going to be dropped for a loss by Wagner and Jamie Carter. Defensively for the Crimson Tide, the down 3, Griffith, Carter, who just helped on the stop, and Reggie Grimes. The linebackers, Stanley, Knight, Tito Smith, and Travis Smith. And Tito is starting tonight because Travis Carroll, an injury, is plaguing him again. And in the secondary, it's Fernando Bryant, Hunter, Sigler, and Dixon. Bryant and Hunter both nursing small injuries, but they are going tonight. But that is one of the shallow areas for the Tide. They're not real deep in the secondary. 2nd and 12. Blitz right up the middle. Federer's pass too high. And let's check in with Larry Beal. Larry?
Hey, Ron. Michigan and Notre Dame, the Wolverines' quest to repeat as national champs, kind of shaky, maybe over before it starts. Jarius Jackson maintains his balance, throws to a wide-open Rakai Nelson. It was 16-13 Irish at that point. 36-20 the final score. The Irish dominate the second half. By the way, Sammy Sosa singled in his first at bat.
Boy, for the Irish to score 36 points against that Michigan defense, they had 9 returners. That's a shocker. Great news for Bob Davey and his guys.
Well, Sammy Sosa got a single. Bob Davey got a home run.
He's still got a few more to go, though, Mike. There's the screen. Sataki loses the football. It's going to be recovered at the 28-yard line as Travis Smith knocked the ball away from him. Fourth down, kicking time, and I mean this crowd is now into this ball game big time.
Tried to set the screen with Kalani Sataki, the fullback, on the left side. Just ran without carrying the football, didn't bring it in. Good pressure by Travis Smith from Alabama, and Alabama should have good field position here, Ron.
This is Hartsfield standing back to receive the snap at the 3-yard line. Now flags down all over the place. Did they, the play clock still had time left on it?
Yeah, I think there was movement in BYU.
So
Ball start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So the Cougars start off with a couple of hiccups on their first possession
and
tonight.
I'd be concerned about this punt because they need good coverage, because Alabama's pretty good in the special teams. They spent a lot of time on it here in the preseason. They could get a good big-time punt return right here.
Hartsfield now 2 yards deep in the end zone as Arvin Richard is the deep man for the Tide, and he's dropped off to his own 40. Not a particularly good kick. Wobbly spiral. And the 45. Breaks a couple of tackles and will have a 9-yard return. Alabama takes it over with great field position at the BYU 46. So 43 on the punt and 12 on the return. We'll be right back. Kevin Federer, Robbie Bosco, who's the quarterback coach, had just left his side. They had been visiting on the sideline. Now he's over talking with Hooks, Margin Hooks out of Waco, Texas, one of the wide receivers. But 3 and out, Mike, in this heat. BYU's defense does not need to spend a long time in this first quarter and first half of the field.
No, when you give the opponent the ball inside the 50-yard line, now Alabama has to make some hay right here. Great field position.
John David Phillips almost flawless on that opening series, straight ahead with the running play and able to have 7 yards as Inu comes up to make the tackle along with Morris.
Well, Mike DeBose has committed to this offense. He feels like that he can throw the ball, run the football very successfully, and he said the keys are draw plays. We've already watched a draw play by John David Phillips for a big gain. Screen passes. We haven't seen any screens yet, but you're going to see a lot of screens tonight. In the three-step drop passes where the rush can't get to you, and you frustrate defensive linemen.
McClintock coming in motion. They run the counter play. Flags go down all over the place. Shaun Alexander is going to be stopped short of the 40-yard line. Brad Martin was down at the bottom of the pile, and it's going to be offsides against BYU. Adrian, let's check in with you on the sideline.
Ron, one of the reasons the offense for Alabama is working so well is that the short passes that Coach was describing, the screens, tend to open up wider running lanes for Shaun Alexander. BYU is not used to seeing running lanes that wide open. At least they haven't been during 2 days in summer practice. Therefore, their area of responsibility for the defensive line is much wider than what they're used to seeing. The adjustment, stay at home. But the negative side of that, Ron, is that they have to be in a catching or receiving situation now as opposed to attacking, and that's not good.
Okay, Adrian. Number 25, Fernando Bryant, the starting left cornerback in at wide receiver. You see him down at the bottom of the screen.
Whenever you bring him in, you figure they're going to try to go to him.
They go up the other side, overthrown. Calvin Hall, the intended receiver there, tried to get isolation, which they did. That was Brian Gray who had him one-on-one.
Well, here's a little adjustment that BYU has made now. They're going to jump the wide receivers outside now, take away those 3-step drop passes and make them adjust their routes. Now, on that play, Brian Gray went right up on the wide receiver and forced him to run a fade. Calvin Hall.
4:27 to play, opening quarter. Alabama 7, BYU nothing. Third down and short, and now Jones and Crutchfield, double tight end situation as Alexander breaks it. He's gone. Count it off. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. And McClintock with the paving block. 37 yards. Mentioned that they asked that young man Dustin McClintock to do a lot of things, and he doesn't mind. He seems to do them all very well. Flugner to attempt his second extra point of the night. Good pass, and he's perfect again. So the Alabama Crimson Tide installing a new offense for 1998. Boy, they have made it work to perfection in this opening quarter.
When you get into a short yardage situation, sometimes you take your defensive lineman and pinch inside. You saw Dustin McClintock with the block on the outside on Brian Gray. And then it's Katie bar the door because Shaun Alexander has nobody to run against. There's a down lineman. They're getting blocked. Alabama's having their way. There's the key block by McClintock. Shaun Alexander has scored 54 touchdowns in high school. Has his second one tonight.
Well, Mike, this is interesting because we had a chance yesterday to sit down and talk with him about these changes. What does Shaun think about the new offense? We asked him.
This system is a lot of fun, and I like things when everybody's out there having fun and the receivers get involved and the quarterback has the decisions to make different plays all the time, and the line like running downfield for blocks and then turn around and just mashing folks. You know, when everybody has a bunch of different things they can do, and it's not just doing something over and over and over again, usually people like it, and they just enjoy doing this, having this offense, and I enjoy it too.
Diaz with the kickoff, and it's going to come down to Ronnie Jenkins at the goal line. 25 out across the 30-yard line. ESPN Sunday Night Football debuts tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern with one of the NFL's great rivalries. The Oakland Raiders battle the defending AFC West champion Kansas City Chiefs. Then ABC's Monday Night Football from Mile High Stadium in Denver. John Elway and the Super Bowl champion Broncos take on the New England Patriots at a new start time. That's 8 Eastern on ABC. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Bryant-Denny Stadium filled to capacity on a warm Saturday night, and for BYU, it's getting hotter. They go with the running play. Jenkins to the right side. Going to take it out over the 45-yard line, and far and away the best offensive play. Not just running play, but the best offensive play for them in the night.
Well, they need a lot of good plays right now. 96 WAC freshman of the year. He was ineligible last year, sat out. A lot of teams tried to get him to transfer, but he said, I'm staying at BYU. Norm Chow, the offensive coordinator, said he's a big-time running back for us.
All the coaches and the players say he is a difference maker when they have him in the lineup. It makes that passing game go much, much easier as well. With the tight end flips from the right over to the left. Jenkins again, other side, and Alabama says no, sir. Tito Smith, number 89, a senior from Birmingham, who is replacing Travis Carroll, puts the stop on it.
To talk further about Ronnie Jenkins, he ran a 4.28 40-yard dash, and the coaches that timed him, they were reluctant to tell the other coaches because they do not have that kind of speed at BYU and haven't. So this young man, if he gets in that secondary, could take it to distance.
Ronnie, by the way, has relatives in Montgomery, and he was getting extra tickets for the ball game tonight. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to play in his opening quarter. You can see contact at the line of scrimmage as Carter went across. And let's see if there was movement by BYU or if, in fact, the Crimson Tide will give up 5. It's going to be against Alabama. And let's check in with Adrian. Adrian,
Well, Ron, the reason Jenkins was ineligible last year is because he broke the BYU Code of Honor, promising to abstain from alcohol, tobacco, tea, and coffee, and to be honest and chaste, that is to say pure of character, all in accordance with the Church of Latter-day Saints. Now, whatever rule it is he broke, he was suspended by the school, not necessarily by the team, but all of his teammates say now that was the best year off that could have happened to him, and they love his attitude now to his return.
Boy, Adrian, when I talked to him in Provo, he was just chomping at the bit to get that headgear back on it and get back on the playing field. He gets the handoff to deep in the eye, going to take it close to the first down. Faust will finally hit him, and I think, yeah, he did get the first down at around the 42-yard line.
BYU trying to settle down their offense. Norm Chow again calling plays. They're trying to put the ball in Ronnie Jenkins' hands now a little bit. Get their defense a little bit more of a rest on the sideline. Keep this drive alive. They have not thrown the ball successfully, and it's 2:31 on the clock, so they're resulting to going with a running game right here.
Well, Lavelle is also capable of having a trick or two up his sleeve.
Very soon.
Yeah, he may reach in there fairly soon. As the cornerbacks move off the play, Jenkins makes the reception, and that is a nice defensive job by number 89, Tito Smith, who came out and would not be blocked. Coming up next on ESPN, a fierce rivalry of the Rockies. Tailback tandem David Washington and Kevin McDougal lead the 16th-ranked Colorado State Rams against the Colorado Buffaloes. It's immediately following this game tonight right here on ESPN. Michael Westbrook comes into the lineup. He's a freshman out of Lakewood, Washington. Where's number 1? 6-footer, 175 pounds. Second down at 17. Federer sets deep in the pocket. Gets it away and incomplete. And it's Westbrook we were just talking about. They are not catching the football well tonight.
No, that's a concern I'd have about this BYU football team. The receivers. I think there's question mark on that position. They went after 3 receivers in the recruiting year last year. 2 junior college players, 1 high school player that they felt could come in and help them. All 3 of them didn't make the grade. So really, they have the same receivers they have last year. And Michael Westbrook is a freshman, as you mentioned. So they have some question mark at that position.
And Norm Chow said they're really having to force feed to him because he's been there such a short time. And this offense is very complex. Third down. Federer. Hit from behind, and he's sacked by Wagner.
They're getting far too much pressure inside. Clinton Wagner, the linebacker, 91, came on the blitz, and they're getting much too much pressure inside. There's the pressure up in here. Here's Wagner spinning off and going to make the tackle.
So BYU had a first down at the Alabama 42-yard line, and right now they are punting from their side of the field at the 47. Hartsfield almost took too much of his own time there. Flag is down as Richard will run out of bounds just short of the 15-yard line. But let's go back to the line of scrimmage and check the handkerchief. Holding against Brigham Young.
I think I'd make him punt it again. BYU's making a lot of mistakes here early in this football game.
So Hartsfield's going to have to do this one over again. In the first quarter, Mike, BYU's defense has had to play almost 9 minutes, 8 minutes and 44 seconds. And they're about to go back on defense with 48 seconds left.
They've still got some to play. Alabama came very close to blocking that last punt.
There's Richard. They got the return on and an end-over-end kick. Richard at the 31-yard line. And he'll take it to the 38. Josh Lowe on the special teams. That's a 37-yard punt and 8 on the return.
Yeah, the difference in this game so far is speed. Alabama's showing much more speed than BYU. You look at John David Phillips' passing chart, over 15 yards, 2 attempts. But he's spreading the ball out, and he's been very consistent so far. Like the poise that he's showing here early in this football game.
Bryant back in the ball game at wide receiver, so he's doing double duty tonight on every offensive possession and defense. Phillips sets in the pocket, drills the pass. It's underthrown. It's Michael Vaughn. He was trying to get it to. Vaughn slipped down, and the pass was underthrown as well.
Well,
by the way,
I was going to say, you see more and more of the defensive players coming over and playing wide receiver. The other night at Auburn, you see some running backs that are going out to wide receiver, and lack of wide receivers coming out in the recruiting area. And so if you're a good athlete and you can go and play in that wide receiver position, coaches are using them more.
I'll tell you, with this 85 scholarship limit, if you can get help like Champ Bailey of Georgia, will be used a lot by Coach Donnan and his staff this year, both ways. They bring the blitz, one-on-one coverage going for Vaughn, and he was working against Chris Ellison, the strong safety, and a pass overthrown. Ellison, by the way, is back. I'm not sure he's yet 100%. In a scrimmage a week ago Saturday up at Provo, Donnie Atuaya, a fullback, hit him in the secondary, just head up right and caved his shoulder in, and he had to leave the scrimmage, and they didn't know if they'd have him ready in time for this ball game tonight. But he appears to be okay and is running full speed right now. Third down, line to make is the 48. We have 26 seconds left opening quarter. Alabama 14-0. Phillips bouncing around, throws it perfectly. Michael Vaughn on the receiving end, and did he get the first down? It depends on where that right foot goes down.
That's an old Gene Stallings play that Alabama's running right there. What the inside receiver will do is go right to the sticks where he knows it's a first down and curl at that stick. And John David Phillips delivers that, so he should have this first down if he ran that route right.
Well, it's very close. Warcup was there to give him immediate attention.
Now, if he shortened that route, you're going to find out right now, and he's going to hear it from his receiver coach, because he needed to go past that stick for the first down. Let's see.
He got it.
Well, he knew where he was going. Michael Vaughn is a sophomore. He was the Tide's leading receiver with 39 catches. A bad back last year and sat out. He's happy to be back.
He's one that got away from Tommy Tuberville. He's from Clarksdale, Mississippi. So that is the end of the first quarter. And they're standing and applauding here in Tuscaloosa, and for good reason. 14 good reasons. Robbie Bosco on the sideline, of course, in the right, busy with Kevin Federer, the junior out of Los Alamitos, California. And so far, they have not found a key to unlock this Tide defense. They had one movement, took it to the 42, and then went in reverse. Alabama has maintained good field position throughout this first half. Just shy of the 50 here. Fumbles the ball. It is loose and picked up. 93 is Frisch, and he is going to take it for the first touchdown of 1998. And we said up the top of the telecast, the defense was going to have to help carry this BYU team early, and they have done just that as Alexander coughed up the football.
Well, Derek Stevenson made the tackle.
And Mike McClintock might also have helped cause the fumble. Watch the collision. Nope, you're right.
That's a good job by number 54, Derek Stevenson, the linebacker. And then Byron Frisch, who is the heart and soul of this defense for BYU, puts them on the board.
Potchman to attempt the extra point, and all of a sudden this 83,000 plus has gone silent. as BYU is on the board, and they get it there defensively. Extra point is good, and we have a new score, 14-7. As Shaun Alexander looks on thinking all that great work, and we're only up by a touchdown. Larry Beal, speaking of great work, how's the Sammy guy doing?
Well, he's getting started here, chasing history, Sosa and the Pirates. And he takes Sean Lawrence for a base hit. Cubs and Pirates early on. It's almost a disappointment when he gets a base hit, but it's not a home run. Second at bat is a ground out. So no home runs for Sammy yet. He's got 57. Cubs need to stay one up on the Mets, who won there earlier today.
Well, for 37 years, baseball's most glorified record has been standing strong. On Monday on ESPN, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa take aim at baseball immortality. The home run record is waiting to fall. Join the chase for history Labor Day, 2 o'clock Eastern. It's the Cubs against the Cardinals. Tracking the home run chase today, Mark McGwire hit number 60 against the Reds. And, of course, Sosa, which we just got the report from Larry, going tonight. He has a single, but no taters as yet.
Well, the good thing about that score for BYU, Ron, is that there are 7 points on the board. But the bad news is the defense is going to be right back out here.
You know, Mike, again, in visiting with everyone in Provo, including the head coach, it was a consensus that the defense was going to have to step up because this offense was not ready yet. There's so many new faces.
Well, I think what has happened here early in the ball game is they're confused. I mean, they did not expect Alabama to do what they're doing, and I think they have to settle down a little bit and make some adjustments and get back in this ball game.
Well, Lavelle Edwards can't be too happy. That's 2 kickoffs that have gone out of bounds and giving Alabama the football at the 35-yard line. Pottsman is smiling, but I have a feeling if he stands next to that veteran coach very long, he won't be smiling.
Well, and he wasn't asking him how the weather is either.
Well, I think Pottsman got rid of that smile and started moving away from the head coach. One of the really, really nice guys. Lavelle looks gruff on the sideline sometimes, but he is one of the really good guys in college football. Straight ahead, 5, almost 10 yards as Brad Martin grabs the top of Alexander's jersey and rides him down, but he is close to another Alabama first down.
Well, we talked about in the open, for Alabama to win, the difference maker is Shaun Alexander. He has great vision, and he's a great cutback runner. We've seen him several times at LSU. He performed very, very well for Alabama, but he is the guy. Now, he needs to keep touching that football, and that's a good move by Mike DeBose to get right back to him and give him the football.
You can see minus 2 yards for BYU offensively, and 119 for the Crimson Tide. Short drop, that pass thrown complete to Freddie Mills, and the freshman from Starkville, Mississippi, has the first down and takes it inside the 45-yard line. Good for 13.
BYU trying to give a little pressure and leaving those corners out by themselves. You can see the pressure right here. Corner all by himself on the island out on the outside. Freddie Millens, a freshman, just a little curl pass. Tyler Nelson on the tackle. That's pretty good, Ron. That's pretty good throw and catch there.
Boy, Alabama also showing a lot of wide receivers tonight, Mike. That's 7 I can count on my chart when you also put Bryant on there. This pass to the near side, almost gathered in by Quincy Jackson, just was not quite tall enough.
Boy, he made a great effort. He was the leading receiver last year with 29 catches for Alabama, and he has really performed well in the 2-a-day camp. The senior 6'1" stretches out here and gets his fingertips on that football. Just couldn't bring it in, but he's open. That's the key. They'll go back to that play because they know they have an open route on that particular call.
You can see Quincy is a senior, played at East Mississippi Community College before transferring here to Tuscaloosa. Second down, the line to make is the 33. 14-7, Alabama leading BYU. Boy, he missed McClintock bad. That may have been the worst pass he's thrown tonight.
Yeah,
just got in a hurry there.
And he's inexperienced, though, so he's going to throw some bad ones. He's not going to always be on the mark. He needs some experience. That was a nice job by the tailback, Shaun Alexander, because BYU brought Jason Walker on a blitz from the outside. Shaun Alexander, who's the running back in this situation, has to block.
course, and the SEC coming in. You can see some of the finals. Boy, what a game up in the Carrier Dome today between Syracuse and Tennessee. It was like who was going to have the ball last was going to win it, Mike.
Yeah, it sure was. There was some great football. Two good quarterbacks.
Third down, has it complete at the 30 to Quincy Jackson. And now here comes a late flag in.
Hashimu Robertson, the corner, again a little bit too late on breaking on the ball. And that was a nice throw by John David Phillips.
Personal foul called on a late hit.
See the cushion on the outside. Jason Walker, Hashimu Robertson closes, but he just didn't get there fast enough. Quincy Jackson on the catch, and then the penalty with it. And I believe that's on Jason Walker.
Yeah, Mike, as you could see, Jason was terribly late on the play.
I tell you, again, they scored on that play, came right back on defense. Now, this is a tired defensive football team.
That's Jones, the tight end, flipping from the right over to the left. About to go into 13 minutes. Nothing on the left, so Alexander says let's take it to the other side, and he's going to be stopped after no gain, and it's Walker who is one of the first men to come over and make the tackle on him, along with Rob Morris.
I took a team to BYU one time, and we opened the season, a Pittsburgh team, and everybody talked about the altitude, and you worried about your players because they read it all the time. Well, this is a reverse situation now. BYU has to come down here on a hot night, the humidity and so forth, and that's a factor in their minds a little bit. But this defensive football team has been out there too long.
Yeah, Mike, they were there for, the offense has been on the field hardly 3 minutes in the entire first half, and we got 12:20 to play until intermission. Wide open in the flat, Jackson. Can't squeeze by Robertson and got to be stopped short of the first down. It'll be a third down at about 1.5 yards for the Tide.
Well, another good throw, but that's a safe throw. I was talking to Kenny Stabler here earlier. He does the radio for Alabama, and we were talking about the offense, and I said the great thing about this offense is safe throws. Look at the pick right here for those two receivers. There's nobody there. I mean, that's pitch and catch right there to Quincy Jackson.
Mike, I tell you what, BYU was so badly out of position. There's the snake. There was no one there to pick. As Alexander goes left side at the 2 and maybe the 1. Alabama is 6 of 6 on third down conversions.
There's Kenny Stabler. We were talking about him earlier, the old left-hander, studying his notes.
Eli Gold sitting to his left, the right of the picture, the longtime play-by-play guy of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Kenny Stabler does a lot for charity in the Mobile, Alabama area. Good man.
14-7 in the Tide, trying to take it back to a 14-point margin. Alexander, blocker in front, McClintock, he will score. Crutchfield also with a paving block.
Defense run. I know we keep saying it. Lavelle Edwards knows his offense has got to get back on the field and get some first downs and give this defensive football team a rest.
Luckner to try to make it a 21-7 game. And he splits him. Left in the first half. Alabama again with a 14-point lead. ESPN's presentation of college football, BYU versus Alabama, is brought to you by the new 1999 TL Luxury Performance Pick 2. President's Mansion here at the University of Alabama as the sun sets here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Warm evening, but no one seems to be bothered except the kids from BYU, and particularly that defense, that they have had to play a lot of football in this first half. A.J. Diaz will kick it off for Alabama. It's going to come down to Ronnie Jenkins. 3 yards deep in the end zone. He'll return it. Wow. Does not make it to the 20-yard line. Who is that? Merritt. On the special teams, Miguel Merritt, a junior.
It's a junior college transfer. Defensive back made a heck of a hit on Ronnie Jenkins.
Well, they've just shown a replay on the Giants screen here, and you can see the hit on Jenkins, who only weighs 180 pounds. He's pretty lucky to hold on to the football. So it's 21-7, Alabama. 10:59 left in this opening half. I don't believe it. Kevin Federer's going to have to call a timeout. So we'll take the break with him. Not pleased with the personnel they had on the field. And we'll take the break with him. We'll be right back with more from Tuscaloosa after this. (21-7) as you look at the defensive unit for BYU. Rob Morris there. He and his compatriots hoping they'll get a little time to spin there. Alabama's had the ball 13-13 in the first half. BYU 5:48. Federer's pass got it complete out here in the flat. That's Jenkins. They get him out of the backfield, and he's going to take it for the longest gainer of the night out to the 36. Let's check in again with Larry Beal.
Hey, Ron, a battle of two high-powered quarterbacks. Tim Rattay hung 590 yards in Nebraska, and this is Dante Culpepper from Central Florida and Louisiana Tech. Dante, the Inferno, for the touchdown. 17-7 USF.
Tell you what else about him, Larry. If you're going to come up and tackle him, you better make up your mind that you're grabbing a load. He weighs about 230.
I was going to say, he looks like a guard running down the field.
Frederick, short drop again. Is it complete? It's Roderick, Aaron Roderick, a senior out of Bountiful, Utah.
Well, Kevin Federick, the quarterback, can get the job done. Before he was hurt last year, he beat Arizona State, SMU, Utah State. He's a very accurate quarterback that was recruited very heavily out of high school by UCLA and Kansas State and Cal before deciding on BYU. He decided on BYU because of Lavelle Edwards and the staff and their stability.
He broke the foot last year, had to come out of the Rice game. And BYU then shuttled 3 different quarterbacks, and the continuity was not theirs. The ball is loose. Atuwaya fumbled the ball as he crossed the 45, and Alabama has recovered.
I think Will Snowden
rather than Atuwaya.
Yeah, number 15.
Right.
He tried to make a cut back. Here he gets the football. He never really has the football, though. You notice he just dropping the football, and he never brought it home because the handoff was not really a good handoff.
Looked like Jamie Carter reached out, got a hand on it, knocked it away from him, and again, BYU's defense has to come back out on the field. This time from a shotgun for the Tide. Jackson out of bounds around the 40. Derek Stevenson pushes him out.
Again, Ron, a little 3-yard pass route, but you deliver the ball to Quincy Jackson. And what really makes this offense go is after they catch the football that they can turn it into big yardage. Their own 35, they get a touchdown. They always have had good field position. Now they've got excellent field position starting at the 46-yard line.
Richard, number 26 in the backfield. Also Tim Bowens, number 8 at wide receiver for Alabama. But it's Richard. Fresh legs. Will have the first down at the 35 as Stevenson and Hans Olsen combine on the tackle.
Alabama substituting here quickly for Shaun Alexander. 3 touchdowns. Arvin Richards, a 5'7", 175-pound sophomore, comes in. Mike DeBose was telling us the other day, a good third down back. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. Mike DeBose has to be pleased with what he sees tonight. worried about the confidence of the football team. They have responded. They are back, and they have a nice attitude about them.
Yeah, they're having fun right now, and for very good reason. Play clock is down to 3, down to 2. Phillips rolls. That's Jackson again, and knocked out of bounds at the 23. That will be another Alabama first down. He might be hitting the nail right there on top. Just chipping away and doing the things that Phillips is comfortable with, which is very, very smart.
They're not asking him to throw the ball 25 yards down the field. They're asking him to get the ball to the receiver quickly. Quincy Jackson now yardage after the catch before Robertson can make that tackle. Now he makes the catch. There's 5, there's 6, there's 10 yards after the catch.
7 receptions for him. That already ties a career high. Richard, he gets banged hard at the line of scrimmage. Peely, Ifo Peely, a redshirt freshman from Orem, Utah, makes the tackle.
I tell you, was it really important for John David Phillips to come out here and get pluses early, because they have an outstanding young freshman here, Tyler Watts, that these people would have yelled quick, but now John David Phillips has settled in.
There's Tyler.
There's Tyler Watts, a very heralded high school player, but John David Phillips now is comfortable, and the fans are comfortable with what they see.
One of the things that Phillips told me about himself, he said, I tried too hard, and it's been my downfall earlier here. That ball is tipped and almost intercepted. You could see that Brad Martin was the closest player to it. Let's check in again with Adrian.
Experience. Ron, we all heard of the outward bound experience. Well, for 2 weeks this summer, John David did that, and he found out a lot about himself and a lot about teamwork. 7-mile hikes, hanging off of cliffs 150 feet off the ground, having to run by himself with 20-pound packs. He discovered that, yeah, he lost 14 pounds, but he made some mistakes, and he pushed himself to the point of making a mistake and found out that that was okay. The only negative side of this was he didn't take a shower for 2 weeks.
Third down, they got to take it down to the 13-yard line, and they go with the draw play. Alexander has 5, has 10, count it off, as he will take it down to the 11-yard line, a gain of about 11 yards, and Alabama continues to convert third downs. I think, what, they're 8 of 8 now? 8 of 8 on third down conversions.
I was just thinking about what Adrian said. If you cared for your quarterback, you wouldn't want him hanging off 150 cliff, but that's not going to happen anymore.
You know, the other point that he made, which is really very mature for a young guy like this, he said, I found out the most important thing was that mistakes are not always bad if you profit from them, if you use it in the right vein.
Well, that's the reason he won the quarterback job, because they thought if things went south that he would be best able to respond to it. And that's why he won the job.
Brigham Young's defense wants a timeout, so we'll take it with him. 8:30 to play in the opening half. It's been all Crimson Tide. They lead it by 14. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. 21-7. Alabama leads. It is a first down, and the ball just outside the 11-yard line. McClintock wide open in the flat, and the reason he's chapped is that had 6 points written all over it, Mike. There was nobody around.
Well, they had him. Usually you run a sprint draw and the fullback blocks the outside linebacker, but on this play you're going to see Dustin McClintock. He is right in the flat, and Shaun Alexander becomes a blocker. Wide open, just a missed throw by John David Phillips.
Well, McClintock who does not get a great opportunity for being a hero, knew that he had one taken away from him there. Here comes the blitz by those linebackers, and
I think Chris Samuels moved to the Alabama left tackle. There was some shifting at the line of scrimmage by BYU, and I think the left tackle moved.
Ball before the snap. Ball start. On the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, Shaun Alexander, we said, is the key to this football team. You can throw the ball all over the place, but eventually you got to run it. Shaun Alexander has been in the end zone 3 times.
So the situation right now with the 5-yard penalty, it is second down and 15, and they need to take it to the 2-yard line to pick up the first. Looks to the end zone and tipped at the last moment. Michael Vaughn, the intended receiver, and I believe it's Walker or Gray, both were there in the area to get a hand on it.
2 defenders. Brian Gray was sitting right on that play, and Jason Walker, and that very well could have been picked off. Michael Vaughn had a shot at it also, but forced that ball in there. BYU bringing in a couple extra defensive backs on 3rd and 15.
8:18 to play first half. Alabama 21, BYU 7, and the Tide is in the red zone again. Middle linebackers blitz. Hit ball is going to be knocked down. It could have been intercepted, but was not, and it was Yancey who was there.
Flag down, Ron, on the near side here.
So actually, for the first time tonight, a few gremlins creeping into the Alabama offense.
On the offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
That's Ken Smith, the defensive coordinator, trying to make his adjustments as he goes along right here, trying to get different personnel in the ball game, some added defensive backs to slow this passing game down. But it's how you like your poison. Do you want to bring more defensive backs in? Then Shaun Alexander's going to run up inside.
Fluker's going to attempt a field goal, Mike. This one from the 24. A 34-yard attempt, trying to make it a 24-7 ball game. First career attempt.
BYU looks to be offsides here.
He's got it. 8:08 left until halftime, and it has been all Crimson Tide. Now, everybody likes what's happening here in Tuscaloosa tonight, who is wearing crimson. But if you're wearing blue, it's been a very long evening, and we're not even halfway done yet. As Diaz prepares to kick it off, again, it's Horton Jenkins back in a dual safety, and Jenkins from 4 yards deep. Now he's going to go down on a knee, and they'll take the ball at the 20-yard line. $1 million is on the line at Darlington, South Carolina. NASCAR's Pepsi Southern 500 tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Jeff Gordon, of course, looking for an unprecedented 4th straight Southern 500 title. He's one of 5 drivers eligible for this year's $1 million Winston Cup Tour bonus as the incredible Labor Day weekend of sports continues on ESPN.
Ron, the most interesting statistic right now as I look at the statistics is with 8 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter, 3 of 5 for BYU, only 5 passes, but their offense has been on the sideline.
Mike, they've only run 12 plays, 41 for Alabama. Federer steps up.
That's where he's dangerous.
Got his safety valve open, and Snowden just dropped the football. Wow. And let's check in again with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, New Mexico State and Texas. Mac Brown's debut as head coach for the Longhorns. What do you say we give it to Ricky Williams a few times? 4-yard touchdown run, his 2nd of the game. 21-3 Longhorns.
Outstanding football player, Mike, and he is also an outstanding young man.
Yeah, I wish him well. He didn't go pro. He wanted to stay in school. Playing the baseball. I hope everything goes well for him in this year.
I hope everybody got to read the article in ESPN, the magazine, on Ricky Williams. Very, very good picture of him as Jenkins runs into his own blocker, and you could see Skiba with the collision with him. Skiba weighs 275, and he goes down after a very short gain.
Boy, Kelvin Sigler read that screen pass when the time it started to develop and made that tackle. And again, Alabama's speed is the difference right now. They're so much quicker than BYU, and they're giving them problems, and the drop balls on BYU's side.
Yeah.
That's the question mark on this football team.
3rd down, they got to take it all the way to the 30-yard line, or the defense has got to come right back out on the field. Kevin sprints out of the pocket, under pressure, gets by a 2nd man, and will not get by the 3rd. It was number 20, Kevin Sigler. 3rd sack, and he gets spun off 2, but could not get by Sigler.
Well, Kevin Federer is sprinting to the right side. Now, he's a left-handed quarterback, so he has to get turned around to throw the ball, but there's so much pressure that he never gets a chance to look downfield.
Hartsfield standing 4 yards deep in the end zone to get this punt away. And again, Alabama stands to get very good field position. They've got the return on best punt of the night. Richard back to the 45. Runs into his own man. Runs into a second Crimson Tide player.
He dropped
the ball came loose. And BYU was on it. Let's see, the play was dead. No, sir. Cougar football.
Well, this is the break that could get BYU back in this ball game. He had a problem. He ran into his own football player.
He sure did. He ran into two of them.
He ran into Chris Horn. And that's what Mike DeMose is telling him, to hold on to the football.
See, there's a collision with Horn, what you were talking about.
And there's another hit by his own player. He was just trying to get an extra yard. The ball squirted out. Didn't have a hold of the end of that football.
Nuno is the man who made the recovery. You could tell he was very close to being down for the ball keeping. Play action. Federer going to be tackled at the line of scrimmage. And one of the things to understand about BYU's offense, and particularly about Kevin Federer, he's not there when he scrambles to run the football. He is scrambling to look for an open receiver.
No, they've had a lot of success with their quarterbacks, especially Kevin Federer, of moving around and then making a bad play into a good play. The receivers know that when he's scrambling to run to him and to take off up the football field.
Well, Fernando Bryant said when we visited with him, he said, you better lock on to your receiver because he's not going to run with the football. Well, all I can say is you got to give a lot of credit to the Alabama secondary because they had talk about locking on to receivers. He has just not been able to find anybody. And that was Wagner with pressure.
And they're changing up coverages on Kevin Federer right now, giving him a little bit of a problem. Comparisons of the quarterbacks. John David Phillips, 103 yards. And look at that, 4 of 8 for 17 yards. That's the good job that Alabama's offense has done, keeping BYU on the sidelines. And when they do come on the field, this Alabama defense has their number right now.
Alabama just ran another defensive player on the field, but that would have given him 12, and he had to get off quickly. And now a timeout is called by BYU. 24 Alabama, BYU 7. This Heisman Classic moment is Ty Detmer, truly an outstanding young man and quarterback. Robbie Bosco, another one who helped that tradition continue at BYU. I remember doing that game, Mike, against Miami up there, and the Hurricanes were really shocked because they were a very good football team who had been winning consistently and went out there in the shadow of the Wasatch, and BYU laid one on them.
BYU has beaten a lot of good teams, and they've had a lot of good quarterbacks. Jim McMahon, another one. Mark Wilson, a lot of good talent. Gifford Nielsen. They have been the top passing team in the country. A lot of people visited them to learn their system.
Split backs. They look at a third down. They need to take it down to the 37-yard line to keep this drive going. Federer deep over the middle, and he has his man. Longest pass play of the night comes at the 5:13 mark as Hooks is there. Faust made the tackle, but it's good for 32 yards.
A little bit too much of a cushion out of the safety for Margin Hooks, because what you're going to see is a lot of movement here. A lot of inside routes right here to get the linebackers to move up inside. Now Hooks is going to come right behind the linebackers and wide open. Safety's too deep. Warren Faust, number 17.
From the 23, draw play. This is Sataki, and he goes inside the 20 to the 18. Tito Smith coming over to make the tackle.
Now you feel like a little rhythm in the offense now. They hit the pass over the middle. They come back with a draw to Sataki, and now they seem to have a little rhythm, and there's a timeout called.
And we're going to hold it right here with 4:44. As you look at Lavelle Edwards in his 27th year in Provo, Utah. I asked him at lunch a couple of weeks ago. I said, Lavelle, how long are you going to do this? And he said, you know, I'll give you the same answer that a lot of people do, but he said it is the true answer. It's from my heart. He said, I really am having fun. And he says, as long as I'm still excited when I go to the park, he said, I'm going to continue to do it, because he said, I love the kids, I love the place that I live, and I love the university. So, you know, he can stay as long as he wants, I'm sure.
Well, I think the other thing about him, when I was out there talking to him, I said, boy, you have a tough schedule. You got to go to Alabama, you got Arizona State, and then you got Washington. I said, how did that develop? And he said, well, the athletic director 5-6 years ago would come by my office and say, hey, how about scheduling Alabama? He'd say, go ahead. And then about a week later, he'd say, how about Arizona State? Go ahead. How about Washington? A week later, he said, go ahead. He said, I figured I wouldn't be here anyway. So, but he is here.
He is here. That is a brutal non-conference schedule. But some of his players also said that they are glad to get to play a team like Alabama on the road. They've never been to this part of the country. They think that the WAC kind of gets laughed at sometimes for playing cream puff opponents inside the league, and they want to show something right now to get it laid on them, but they have an opportunity to come back. 2nd and 5. Federer gets it away. The ball is tipped, and it is Atuaya, the fullback, who makes the reception, and he will have the first down with a gain of 6 yards. And boy, Kevin took quite a shot as he got that ball away.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking here. Kevin Federer has been under pressure this whole entire half. His offensive line has not been able to protect him. Here, he gets pressure from the outside here and takes a real good hit.
Canary Knight.
Canary Knight.
First down, BYU. You see the ball just inside the 13-yard line. They go straight ahead with the running play, and that's Sataki. He may have one, and that's it. Well, you talk about a tough kid. Federic, I mentioned that he broke a foot last year. Mike, it actually happened against Utah State, and he limped around all week. They go to Rice. He plays the entire first half and finally says, Coach, I can't go. They check him out. That thing is broken, and he had been trying to play on it. So then all of a sudden, continuity went out of the offense. And the coaches felt as though they lost a couple of games, maybe even 3, because of losing him and the continuity.
Well, he told me he was really frustrated watching. He said now he's back this year. The players have confidence in him.
Jenkins spins around and will not make it to the 10-yard line. Travis Smith, the first man to get there, as this Alabama defense has been swarming and all over the field in this first half.
Well, they have been. The quickness again is showing up, especially on this defensive line. Take a look at the BYU offensive line coming off. Ronnie Jenkins trying to make a cutback, but there's too much penetration up the field. You never really get a chance to cut back.
Third down. Got him wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Apinaway.
What made this play, Ron, was the block of Ronnie Jenkins. He took a hit after he got the fake from Kevin Federic. He really collided, which gave Kevin Federic time to throw that pass.
Well, it took a while in coming, but as Mike mentioned, more continuity on this drive, and the BYU offense comes alive. If you just joined us, the defense scored the first touchdown of the night for BYU. Extra point is good, and with 2:54 left until halftime, the folks who came a very long way from Provo, Utah, have something to cheer about. It's back to a 10-point game.
What? You can see the rhythm now developing with BYU's offense.
And let's go back to Larry Beal. Larry?
Well, not only BYU fans have something to cheer about, but Sammy Sosa fans as well. Mark McGuire went deep today for number 60. Here is Sammy tonight, his third at bat off of Shaun Lawrence, and there it goes. Number 58 for Sammy Sosa. Somebody could break the record on Monday, Labor Day. We'll have the Cubs and the Cards right here, 2 Eastern.
Mike, you got to love Sosa. The interview, I hope you got to see it last night on ESPN after the ball game. He just, you know, he's pulling as hard for McGuire as he is for himself. He's a very, very humble human being, and I think has got a lot of fans, a lot of people pulling for him as well.
And he looks like he's having fun playing the game, too. When you have fun, you play a little loose.
And McGuire, as you can see by that number, or in case you didn't hear, he tied it with the Babe today. One of 3 people to hit 60 home runs in a season.
And Kevin Federick, he's feeling a little loose on the sidelines, too, because things are starting to come together for the BYU offense.
Mike, if they could get a stop here on Alabama, they would go in with a far more positive note than they would have 5 minutes ago.
The one thing it's cost them is they used their timeouts here early with their defense and their quarterbacks trying to get their team assembled, but they don't have any timeouts left.
Richard, and he will be tackled. Nice open field tackle short of the 15-yard line. Josh Lowe downfield in the special teams. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, Alabama has a man on the sidelines right behind Coach DeBoer, mirroring him as he moves the sidelines here. And every time Coach turns around and says, how many times has Shaun carried the ball? In light of the fact they want the ball in his hands 20 to 25 times this game, look at the numbers. He's right on schedule, almost carried a dozen times, over 80 yards, and accounts for most of his points. Expect the same thing in the second half.
Well, Adrian, right now, Alabama has the worst starting position on the field that they've had, short of the 15-yard line. They have been beyond the 35 almost, well, in fact, every time they've touched the ball in the first half. Alexander doesn't look like much. You can see Martin tries to rip it away, and it did come loose. The official saying nope. Well, BYU is arguing with the official saying, oh, no, we thought that ball did come loose.
Well, Brad Martin came out of the pile, but he may have came out with it late. This is where Alabama can't get conservative here now. They've been wide open in this ball game. You get a score against you, you're still 10 up. They still got to throw the ball. They got to go back to the things that have been good to them.
Second down, about 5.5 yards to pick up the first. Short drop, and Jackson is there. This is going to be a new career high as far as catches in a ball game by Quincy Jackson. That's 8 receptions for him. And it also moves the chains. Clock stops momentarily at 1:54.
That was a checkoff all the way. With Alabama came out in the eye offense and 2 backs. BYU jumped into a 7-8 man front. Checkoff by John David Phillips just to throw the ball out to Quincy Jackson one-on-one on the outside. He's career high here with 8 receptions.
That's what I mentioned, that he's got 8 now, and that's the most he's ever caught. Tied it a moment ago. Option play this time. Alexander, and they didn't want that. He runs out of bounds to stop the clock, and let's check in with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, coming up at the half, we've got the halftime report brought to you by Buick. Chasing history, Big Mac and Sammy both go deep. Surprise, surprise in South Bend today, and you will not believe the numbers put up by Tim Couch. Now let's go back to Bama.
Well, everybody's happy right now. As I said, we're in the Crimson, but a little bit of a momentum shift as far as BYU getting a touchdown a moment ago. Throwing the pass to Apinoe in the end zone, wide open. They need to stop right here. 1:50 left until halftime. Deep over the middle, and that ball well overthrown, and now here comes a flag. Now the question is, and I'm sure the BYU staff will ask, was the ball catchable? I think Lavelle is saying 15 yards over his head.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Previous spot. First down.
Well, Calvin Hall was the receiver, and the intended receiver, John David Phillips, is delivering this football high.
Like Lavelle said, 15 yards over his head.
And they are talking to the official that on the side of the BYU side to get a clarification.
They've just thrown another flag. I'll tell you what, I don't blame Lavelle.
No, I don't either.
I mean, they're calling unsportsmanlike, but I think sometimes you can go too much by the letter of the law. I mean, you could have put Wilt Chamberlain on.
Well, he needed a net.
Akeem Olajuwon's back and couldn't have caught that ball.
Well, Lavelle Edwards is all the way down on the 25-yard line. He's going to still stay on that official. And he's not ever lost his composure on the sideline.
Well, not only was it high, though, Mike, the ball was behind him. There's no way Callis could have caught the ball. Pressure, gets by one man, and then is going to be sacked. And that's number 10, Martin. Brad Martin, the senior out of Clovis, California, who will come up to make the tackle on John David Phillips.
Well, what you do is in a football game, this is just like a basketball game. When your coach gets a technical, your defense now has to turn it up and make a play. And Brad Martin just made a play.
So the clock is stopped with 1:35 left until halftime. And with the timeout, we'll go away for a moment. 10-point game, Alabama, 24-14. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. The Alabama Crimson Tide out of timeout. So the situation 24-14. They have the ball, second down, 15. And it is at the BYU 44-yard line.
This is big for BYU's defense now. They've got to shut them down here. No timeouts left. 1:35 on the clock. They got to shut them down.
Pressure, and Phillips going to run. And steps out of bounds after picking up about 7 yards. It'll be third down and around 8 as they need to take it down to the 30. Morris forced him out of bounds.
John David Phillips has started out here as hot as you can possibly be on this night. In the first quarter, sprinting out to the right side and throwing that completed pass to Tim Bowen. And he gets Quincy Jackson, and he runs a quarterback draw. And I think now what has happened, Ron, is BYU now has seen this offense now. They've seen the alignments. Now they're creeping up a little bit, and they're starting to get into the flow of what Alabama is doing on offense.
Shotgun formation. Alexander is back there with Phillips. But he's there as a blocker. Sideline, headed open, and Calvin Hall, boy, made a valiant attempt, couldn't stretch out enough.
I'll tell you, John David Phillips took a hit from Brad Martin, the outside linebacker, just as he threw the football. Brian Gray back in coverage. That was open just off the fingertips.
So after a rapid first quarter, the second quarter really slowing down with the incompleted passes by both teams.
There's the hit by Martin. BYU trying to signal timeout, but they don't have any left.
Mike, they've only got 10 guys in the field, don't they? I think they've got a procedure penalty because he realized he didn't have enough men.
Ball before the snap. Ball start. On the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still.
I can't answer that because I don't know. Samuels, the offensive tackle, number 60, the left tackle, jumping before the snap count.
This is the first punt for Alabama in this first half. Daniel Pope. Got it out of bounds, and they're going to signal it out at the 10-yard line. We're coming up on the Buick Century halftime report. Larry Beal in the studio with an update from around college football, chasing history, McGuire and Silsett, and also Tennessee and Syracuse. And then Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit out in South Bend, Indiana, with the aftermath of this afternoon's Michigan-Notre Dame game.
Ron, this is going to be interesting what the strategy by Norm Chow and Lavelle Edwards is here. No timeouts left. You got 1:10 on the clock. You backed up to the 10-yard line. Maybe you start off with a draw or screen, just something safe to see if you can get out to where you can work.
Well, you could see the pursuit by Steve Stanley.
Boy, very, very dangerous throw by Kevin Federer. Steve Stanley, you talked about number 4 pressuring the left-handed quarterback. Looked like a missed blocking assignment by Sataki. But if they get turned around there, Michael Fagan, number 3, he might have had a pick. I think I'd kill this clock a little bit with some type of draw, some type of screen right here.
Still got 63 seconds left until halftime. Federer did not feel the backside pressure and gets it complete to Hooks. And that'll stop the clock for a moment as they have a first down at the 27, and Fagan making the stop defensively.
I think this is their best receiver. Lavelle Edwards, margin Hooks. He said he can be a good one. He had a great camp. He has good speed. He is the best receiver for Kevin Federer.
Quick out pass, got him again, and he will go out of bounds at the 33. Now 47 ticks showing on the clock.
Great confidence in their quarterback, the junior Kevin Federer. Norm Child, Lavelle Edwards without any timeouts, trying to get some points on the board.
Michael Westbrook, number 1, comes into the lineup. Also Cliff Dolman, number 11, comes in, and they bring Westbrook right back out. Norm Child to the far left up in the booth, the offensive coordinator. Backside pressure, he felt through that time and just shuffles it away to Atuaya, and that's an incomplete pass.
Well, good pressure by number 20, Kelvin Ziegler. Again, Alabama changing up the blitzes, changing up their coverages. Coming off the corner, Kelvin Ziegler, number 20, gets a shot at Kevin Federer. He ducks under, tries to shuffle the ball, but an incomplete pass. Heady quarterback, always looking to try to get the ball up the field.
Well, it's third down, and they need to take it to the 36.5-yard line to keep this drive going. 39 seconds left of the opening half. What a safety valve to Jenkins, and Jenkins appears to have the first down at the 38.
Got to get to the line of scrimmage now. BYU walking around. Going to be ready to start this play when that referee signals it in.
Federer again to safety valve, and Jenkins breaks it open across midfield and inside the 45 to the 42. Faust makes the tackle.
That's the ability you see in Ronnie Jenkins that talked about the 4-2 speed, the quick feet.
Well, now, Mike, there's 15 seconds left, and there is a flag back at the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to bring it back.
6 players on the line of scrimmage. On the white. 5-yard penalty. Still first down. Clock starts on the ready.
You know what's happening here on the sideline? I think the BYU coaches, when you have a one-game schedule, and this is one game back at Alabama, there's no return for Alabama to go out to BYU, and it's an SEC crew in here. And sometimes that's why I like split crews, and they're not going to use them ever again. But I like a friendly face on the field that I can talk to.
Federer going long, incomplete, and here's a flag. Westbrook, the intended receiver. It was Fagan who was trying to stay up with him.
Well, Kevin Federer just aired it out there, trying to get the ball to Michael Westbrook, the talented freshman. But the college rule now, that's going to come back in the penalty of beeping the line of scrimmage. Not really a bad play by Alabama if they felt like they were beat.
Well, no question about it. There's only 3 seconds left until halftime, Mike.
Yeah, Michael Fagan just bumps into the receiver, Michael Westbrook. Now you got to play your defensive backs deep as you possibly can. Guard the goal line.
You can see Michael Fagan backing up in a deep center field. On first down, 3 seconds left until halftime. Reagan lobs it for the end zone. Far as he can throw it, and it's going to be too far. As Faust was the closest man to it, knocks it aside, and we are at halftime. As they head to the locker room, it's Alabama 24 and Brigham Young 14. Now with the Buick Century halftime report, let's rejoin Larry Beal.
Thank you, Ron. We'll get started with the #1 team in the nation in action. Ohio State, tough opener in Morgantown against West Virginia. Michael Wiley dances to the outside for the touchdown in the first quarter. 10-3 Ohio State. Lots more to come on the Buick halftime report. The Fighting Irish with a surprise for Michigan. Oh, we'll tell you why the Vols are happy. And the Big Mac attack along with Sammy next.
Particularly dominant in the first 25 minutes of the first half. Then BYU started to come back a bit. But the passing game we talked about off the top of the telecast, Mike Godfrey, it worked better than most people expected, I think.
It really did, Ron. You know, when you watch tape of them, that they were precise and they were getting the ball in the flat, and then the receivers were making good yardage. And it's going to set up the running play. And Shaun Alexander is going to be featured in the run. And you look at Alabama, what they did in the first half. Here's a little quick pass on the outside for good yardage, and a pass to Quincy Jackson. Now that opens up the running game, because all of a sudden now you've got to take the linebacker and nickelback out a little bit more to try to stop the passing game, and then you run even with the numbers of people that you have to block in the running game. 14 rushes, 77 total yards, and 3 touchdowns. A pretty good first half for Shaun Alexander. And I think in the second half you'll see him catch the ball, maybe a screen, flare, some type of pass play that they can get him the ball a different way.
You know, it's one of the things he talked about in our meeting the other day, that he said, yeah, I really do enjoy catching the football and running with it almost as much as running it from scrimmage.
Well, you look at the statistics, the passing yardage for Alabama, the rushing yardage for BYU, just 6 yards. Third down has been big for Alabama, 8 out of 10.
With the cry, roll, tide, roll. Diaz's kick is fumbled at the goal line by Jenkins. Then he picks it up. And Ronnie runs into trouble just across the 15-yard line because of that bobble. And Adrian Karsten, what do you have to add after that first half?
Well, Ron, I know this is going to sound a little strange, but believe me, quarterback Kevin Federer is actually more successful, more effective when things break down a bit and he gets chased out of the pocket. Consider this, 25%, 1/4 of BYU's points over the last 3 years have been scored when the quarterback gets chased out of the pocket. Consider what they've done now late in the first half. They're going to keep that same pace and scheme here in the second half, and that also accomplishes another thing. It wears down the defensive line at Alabama. They're beginning to show some fatigue if these guys have to pass rush play after play.
Well, that's a good point by Adrian, because Norm Chow, when he looked at the tapes for the last 3 years, found that when broken plays with their quarterbacks, that 25% of the time, like Adrian said, would result in touchdowns. And that happened a little bit here in the second half. They made some completions.
Well, when you look at John David Phillips and we look at the first half stats, Ronnie Jenkins, by the way, was down just now, and it looks like cramps to me.
Well, you look at the first half statistics and the rushing yardage of BYU, they haven't been able to run at all. But Alabama with good balance. Yeah, total plays almost Alabama with 47 and 29, and of course the penalties about even, but 76 yards for BYU, and of course a couple penalties late in the second half that were argued by the bench.
Well, Jenkins is up, and I have a feeling that this is something we're going to see a lot of in this second half, and that is players cramping up, because on a warm evening, I pointed out the humidity is only like 33%, but it's still very, very warm, and the temperature is still pretty high. It was at 89 degrees, heat index at 93 when we started. Quick out pass. Mahi, the freshman out of Salt Lake City, makes the reception, and he is going to be tackled immediately.
That's a quick screen to the outside, but that shows you the speed of the Alabama defense. The ball just, the quarterback just raises up, throws to the outside. You get a lead blocker, but count the number of red jerseys around that football. There's got to be 7 around there. That's good pursuit, good quickness.
Defensive stats, will show them to you in just a moment. Those who prospered in the first half. Travis Carroll in the lineup for the first time tonight. Didn't play in the first half. Mahi on the reception. It's going to be a third down. Let's show you those defensive stats. These are the people who did well in the first half. Robertson and Morris both with 7 tackles for BYU. Travis Smith with 5 tackles and Sigler with 4. Third down. Line to make is the 26. And that was Tito Smith. The second man on the list, defensive stats. Lobs it, has it complete. And that's Mahi again. And he not only will have the first down, but he picks up an extra 8 or 9 yards. Total of 15 on the play.
I was going to say Junior Mahi, a true freshman, came through there as Kevin Federer, as Adrian Karsten was talking about, gets flushed out. But you watch the center of the line right here, the pressure, the upfield pressure that Alabama's getting out of the center and guard position. And they force Kevin Federer to the outside. He makes the pass to Junior Mahi, makes the completion, gets the sticks to move again. But the pressure up inside, Ron, BYU hasn't been able to solve that.
Well, there's movement all over the place. Wong came out of his stance, number 70. You talk about heart and soul. Travis Carroll, they were hoping he'd be ready to go tonight. He's been plagued with an injury, and now they have elected to play him here in the second half.
Ball before the snap. Offside. On the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Adrian Karsten, you got a little bit more to add in this story, I understand.
Yeah, Ron, Travis hasn't really practiced at full speed since August 20th. He's still got that deep bruise to his right shoulder. They expected him to go second series, but you know what? That defense played so well, they really didn't need him. With him in the game, the entire defense plays to another level, they tell me.
Fernando Bryant even told us, he said, we don't have to watch our checks nearly so closely when he's there. And he is there to make his first tackle of the night on Snowden. Travis, a sophomore out of Jacksonville, Florida, 6'4", 238.
He's out of Bowles High School, Ron, and they put a lot of recruits out to the SEC. That's an outstanding high school football program. Travis Carroll, number 44, just scrapes down the line of scrimmage, ducks back in, makes the tackle on Will Snowden. You know, when he talked about his team, he said, we have a whole new attitude around here this year. And they played like that in the first half.
Second down and short. Maybe a down to play with if you're BYU. Fake the run, possibly, and throw the football. But they're going to try to hold on to possession. As Snowden's going to have the first down. And Mike, he looked like he's cramping up. He was not running full speed, was he?
He got the corner there very easily, almost too easily for what happened on defense. But Will Snowden's asking to come out. But there was nobody outside to force this football. BYU again making adjustments at halftime on the offensive side of the ball. This was a nice design play.
Well, this is either cramp
I think that's what it is.
Aggravated a muscle pull, but I think you're right. I think it's a cramp. So BYU comes up with another first down. They have it at the 37-yard line of Alabama. Pressure at the middle, is swinging the ball at Tuwaya, and the big fullback is going to ramble inside the 30 and down close to the 27-yard line.
Ron, the best team in pro football the last how many years since Bill Walsh put the offense in has been the 49ers with 2 backs. Well, BYU is one of the few teams that still runs a 2-back offense. Here they're going to bring it back on the swing on the outside. There's a good completion by Kevin Federer, and again they're picking on the tight end side. The run they had to the tight end side, and they came right back to the throw of the flare pass on the tight end side. Found something at halftime. That's a great thing about having a stable staff that's been together all the time. They make adjustments very easily.
So this drive started just across the 15-yard line for Brigham Young. Jenkins fumbled it, didn't get it back to the 20. And they have moved it now down just short of the first down. It's around the 28-yard line. And Mike Dubose knows that with the kind of offense that BYU has, it's not like they're necessarily a home run hitting team, but they can hit some doubles and triples too, Mike.
No, they can hit home runs too. You're right. Oh, they can single you, double you, triple you, but whatever. But at the 8-minute mark of the second quarter, I remember again, 3 of 5. Now they've got a rhythm to them. They've kind of solved Alabama's defense a little bit. They feel a little bit more comfortable out there, and they're holding on to the football. That's the key for them since the 8-minute mark.
Second down and just inches. Jimmy Richards, sophomore out of West Georgia, Utah, comes out over the football. And straight ahead with the quarterback sneak is Federer. He'll have the first down. Kenny Smith is the man who makes the tackle. We have not called his name very much tonight.
No, we haven't. And you go to the other side, Ron, and the offensive line for BYU starting to feel at home now. They got 2 really good tacklers. John Tate, I know you saw him when you went out to BYU, and I did too. Joe Wong on the other side. They're missing Eric Bateman. He came out last year as a junior. The coaches told him not to come out. He came out for the NFL draft, got cut by the Jets after a week. He would be here. It really helped this offensive line.
Well, they got a first down and a play action. Here's pressure, and he's going to be sacked, and it's Canary Knight. Canary Knight, the junior out of Tallahassee.
Well, he's an excellent pass rusher, transfer for the city colleges, San Francisco, and he was heading to Florida State. Ronnie Cottrell was named a coach here. He was on the Florida State staff, and he came over here to Alabama, and Canary Knight said, I trusted Ronnie Cottrell. He told me about this program.
Personal foul, face mask, on the defense. Half the distance, previous spot, first down.
So Alabama has a mistake or two creeping in here. I'm sorry.
No, he just trusted that the programs and the right hands, and Ronnie Cottrell, when he moved from Florida State, was able to pull him away and get him here in the program. Canary Knight's a pretty good football player.
First and 10, the line of scrimmage, the Alabama 12.5-yard line. A 10-point game, 24-14, and BYU trying to make it a 3-point contest. Draw play, cut at the 10, puts a hit down, and he's close to the 5-yard line. Ball is loose. Who got it? It'll stay with BYU. Fernando Bryant came up to make the tackle.
Ron, the third quarterback for BYU, which is Brandon Dolman, he watches the weak side defensive end, and we just came back from that play where the defensive end came up roaring up the field. Well, he tells the coach, he says, the weak side end is really working up the field, then they run a trap, which is they came right back with a trap. That's his assignment. Here's the trap play. Guards pulling. There's the block on the outside. Canary Knight, who made that sack, he got trapped.
On second down, they have the sweep. Blocker in front. Touchdown, Mahi. And look out. We got a 4-point ball game. 24-20.
You know the thing about confidence early in the ball game, these are 2 teams. This is an Alabama team that led in 4 of their 7 losses last year in the second half of the game. So their confidence is a little fragile. So this drive by BYU is really important.
Foxman to attempt the extra point. Good pass. And Owen is good. And with 10 minutes and 23 seconds to play third quarter, I mean a brand new football game. 24-21, Alabama's lead reduced to 3. ESPN's presentation of college football, BYU versus Alabama, is brought to you by Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service and by Isuzu, specialized worldwide builders of adventure machines. Isuzu, go further. Well, you look at Atuaya, big fullback, the number 3 guy at fullback for BYU. They're going to need everybody they brought tonight because, Mike, we're seeing a lot of people who are cramping, and that kick will not be returned by Richard, which is a very smart move. An interesting number. Time of possession. We're going to double check this. As you see, Atuaya, they're working on him. He's cramping in his calves. But time of possession, all of a sudden, BYU, who trailed desperately in the first half, they now lead in time of possession.
Well, I think, again, we talked all night about stability of staff. Norm Chow now has the offensive coach who's calling the plays, now has drawn a beat on Alabama's defense, and also Ken Smith, the defensive coordinator. Now they've looked at Alabama's offense a little bit so they can make some easier adjustments.
Phillips will start in a shotgun formation. Nobody else in the backfield with him. They set middle screen, and this is Vaughn. Breaks it open. Up the far sideline. Jason Walker was the last guy, and he forced him out of bounds. 31 yards.
Just a little screen pass on the outside, and that's why it's dangerous, because the yards after the catch. John David Phillips in the shotgun. No backs. There's just a quick throw to the outside. Everybody came inside. Nice block by Quincy Jackson.
But you know, Brian Gray committed way too quickly.
Too soon.
Should have stayed to the outside to make sure he forced him in the middle. We understand now that John David Phillips is cramping a bit.
Don't forget the quarterback draw here with no backs.
Set up the screen, and the ball incomplete.
Came back to the same play to Freddie Millens.
Let's check in real quickly with Larry Beal. Larry?
All right, Ron, Ohio State and West Virginia, the Buckeyes, #1 team in the land in preseason and looking every bit of it. Joe Germain, D. Miller, touchdown. It's now 20-3 Ohio State. Ricky Williams in Texas running wild, 4 TDs, 38-10 Longhorns.
So the Buckeyes coming out of the gate strong. And we know Morgantown could be a very tough place to play, right?
Right, Shaun Alexander. You're right. Shaun Alexander hasn't touched the ball yet.
Got his pass complete at the 41, and it's Eric Locke, the freshman out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
What a nice catch by Eric Locke. Good throw by John David Phillips. Good coverage by Jason Walker. You said it earlier, about 8 receivers have rotated in and out for Alabama. Number 2, Eric Lott, the outside receiver, cleared out. He broke on the out and made the catch.
2 tight ends. Full house backfield. Actually not full house, but an eye set with McClintock at the fullback position. And he's the lead, and it's Alexander. He's going to be slung down after a gain of a couple by Fridge.
Boy, Frisch is a good player.
See, Phillips continues to go down to try to touch those toes. He's having trouble with the cramping as well. Not just everybody from BYU.
Well, they want him to go the whole way. Now, there's no plans of bringing him out. Andrew Zhao is the backup right now, and Tyler Watts is the 3rd-team quarterback.
Look how stiff that right leg is, though, Mike. He's
almost like you as a coach, you don't want to look. You know, he's telling you, he's tightening up.
He's upset because he does not want to have to come out of the game. It almost looks as though hands or arms are cramping as well.
The big thing is they've got to get Andrew Zhao some snaps on the sideline, the backup quarterback.
And they're going to have to send him in the game. No. And you could see Phillips. Boy, he's upset. He wants to go.
Now, I watched Andrew Zhao in practice last year when I covered a couple games. He is a really good athlete. But you figure on this first play, to give him a chance, just put it in Alexander's hands here. We'll see if they open it up. A couple plays back where John David Phillips might have got hurt.
He started to cramp up then 2 plays ago. So a timeout called by Alabama as Zhao did not like what he saw. We'll take the break with him. 9:06 to play 3rd quarter. Alabama by 3, 24-21. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. 4th down. They did not have it on the sideline marker, so Bama called a timeout. And they got Brown in at fullback. Alexander is there, and Zhao hands it off to Alexander. And it would appear, yes, he has the first down plus a couple.
Well, they had a new quarterback and a new fullback, and Marvin Brown came into the ball game at the fullback position. That's the same play they scored on, a power to the right side with the block down by the tackle and the tight end, and the lead block by the fullback, Marvin Brown.
Phillips was taken off a moment ago. He went along with McClintock, and they both were taken to the locker room, and you have to wonder if they're on IV, Mike, to try to get the cramps away. Alexander almost broke it. Takes it down inside the 30 as Mongolay finally makes the tackle.
Well, a great block by Marvin Brown, number 6. Now you bring in your backup fullback, and he levels. I think it was Jason Walker on that last play. And this becomes Shaun Alexander time. Watch this fullback number 6 with that hit. Whoa. And a good hard run by Shaun Alexander.
Brad Martin was there. He ran by him. Again from the I formation. This is about all you're going to see with these substitutes in there. And Alexander will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Martin is there to make the tackle.
Again, the book on Andrew Zhao is he is a good athlete. Where he'll hurt you is when he goes back to pass. You're looking at Tyler Watts, the third quarterback. No plans to play him at this point. But Andrew Zhao can make something happen with his feet.
Tyler Watts doing everything he's asked of, because in practice he's the number 3, so he gets very few, if any, reps. But you can see him doing the hand signals coming in, and he just wants to be a part and learn the system. Boy, he had some numbers in high school. Zhao sets the throw and just puts this one up in the air and completes it. I don't believe it. Quincy Jackson. That thing is either picked off and taken for a touchdown, or what happened?
Well, when things go right, they go right. He floated one up to Quincy Jackson. Ken Smith, the defensive coordinator, could see interception, but it didn't work that way. Andrew Zhao again sprinting out to the right. Now that might scare the play caller to go back to Alexander again. That would worry me a little bit. This is, again, a 4th down situation. Let's see if they run that power play off tackle with the lead blocker, Marvin Brown.
Here's Neil Callaway, the offensive coordinator. Need about a half a yard. Alexander, I don't know, except second effort.
Boy, a great second effort.
Mike, second effort, but I still don't think, from where the linesman has come in, I don't think he got it. Chris Ellison, from his strong safety position, came up to make the final hit.
Ron, he was running against 10 players. They put 10 players up on the line of scrimmage.
He didn't make it.
That was big. The John David Phillips going off the field. Dustin McClintock, the fullback, going off the field. Andrew Zhao, and it just takes a little bit away from the momentum they had.
Adrian Karsten has an update on those players that left the field, Mike.
John, Phillips and Ron Phillips and McClintock, everyone else, what's happening to these guys is they've gone 100 miles per hour for an hour and a half, go inside for halftime, sit, do nothing for 15, then come out and go 100 miles per hour again. After this play, I'll give you exactly the situation with Phillips and McClintock.
All right, Adrian. Jenkins back in the lineup. They got his cramps taken care of for the moment. They fake the reverse, and no go. Knight, Canary Knight, really is beginning to feel at home at that outside rush position.
Standing by.
Adrian, what else do you have?
In order to get the electrolytes working in your system, they are taking it intravenously, both Phillips and McClintock in the locker room, and they're taking Gatorade and that type of thing. They need to sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes in order for that to go to work in their system. The advantage for BYU is their specialty players have been off the field and have had a chance to do that right here on the sideline.
4th sack just a moment ago. Here's the draw play. This is Cup at the 30 and still fighting as he takes it out to about the 44-yard line. Sigler makes the tackle.
That's the answer. The play before, Alabama really worked up hard with a good solid rush, and they had a trick play on, and they sacked Federer. And the answer for BYU is anytime you come up the field, we're going to draw you and we're going to trap you. Aaron Cup, number 26, third fullback we've seen in there tonight.
Well, BYU breaks the huddle, and here's the situation. They're down by 3, just under 6 to play third quarter, and this is a third down. They need about 3.5 yards to keep this drive going. Here comes a blitz right up the middle. Got a man wide open, and that is Atuwaya, and he has the first down. As, boy, they made, I don't know if it's a check off of the line, Mike, but it was a nice reaction to what happened.
They started this late in the second quarter, going to the tight end side. They'll put the receivers to the front side, the tight end in the back. They work a game on the back side. Here's the tight end. He's going to work up the field, and the back's going to come out, and you've got a 2-on-2 situation, but nobody came off on the back.
Atuwaya made a nice catch as the ball thrown a little bit behind him, and the big fella reached up, brought it in with one hand. Look at the second half and the difference in the numbers. Federer, short drop. Got Mahi. Takes it for 4 extra yards as Travis Smith will make the tackle. And I'll tell you, I had lunch with Lavelle Edwards when I went up to Provo, and he complimented this young man. He said he showed more mental maturity and growth than any first-year guy has ever had, and that covers 26 years at BYU.
Well, there's no doubt. Norm Child told me the same thing. He's alert, smart. He has a feel for the game. He's a true freshman. He has a touchdown tonight. He has just taken over this game.
The freshman out of Salt Lake City. Now he's going to carry the ball. And boy, he gets branded and breaks off the tackle and brings it back as he is stopped just short of the 40 by Dixon.
Another first down now. BYU keeps putting pressure on this Alabama defense.
Now the crowd growing a little restless here. 83,818 on hand as their football team dominated in the first half.
They remember last year, Ron, and again, 4 out of 7 of those losses, they were ahead going in the second half. They need to shut them down right here. See if they go back to tight end side.
Federer, and he got tackled by the face mask, and now here comes 2 flags. Wow, first down plus the 15. Whew. Reggie Grimes is the man who grabbed him.
Just making too many mistakes. Well, you got to credit again both staffs doing a lot of different things here in the opening ball game.
Personal foul, rest of the face mask on the defense. 15 yards, previous spot, first down.
Well, the difficult thing, you not only lose the 7 yards of the sack, you get 15 down the field plus the first down.
Ron, let's see if they come out with a tight end closest to the BYU side here and work this side. Nope, they're going to put formation into the field. Let's see if they work at the top left.
It's hooks in motion, top of the screen, and they go with the draw play. And Cup breaks off the tackle and is going to take it inside the 20-yard line. And Cup has been more effective at the draw play than Sataki, who played the first half.
It really has, and they're blocking it better because Alabama's rushing up the field. They're vulnerable for the trap. There's the trap right here, which opens it up. Inside, Culp gets a block on the outside and picks up good yardage again, about 6 yards. So the draw trap is working well for BYU.
Well, look at rush yards, 56-8 compared to first half and second. Mahi spins around, gets by a tackler. He will miss the first down by about a half a yard. It'll be third as Carlos Stinnett, who's in the ballgame replacing Carter at that nose guard, is there to make the play defensively.
Ron, Junior Mahi has been just really fabulous in this ball game. I wonder what's happened to Ronnie Jenkins, though.
Whether he was having trouble with
whether he's cramped up and can't come back in or not.
Third down, less than a yard, and the running play Snowden. He'll have the first down as he powers his way to the 13. Now the thing, if you're a BYU fan, is not only has the offense awakened, but the point is their defense is getting more than a little bit of rest. This is more rest than they had the entire first half. Right?
It is. There's Jenkins right there. You're right. He's trying to stretch out on the sideline.
Jenkins has been battling a hamstring pull all during preseason.
Well, here again, Ron, they go to the tight end side. You get a good push. You look at this push up the field. That's 5 yards up the field.
Now timeout has been called. and it is called by BYU. 2:56 left, third quarter. Alabama leads by 3, but BYU is down there knocking. 24-21. You can see the clock shows just under 3 minutes to play third quarter. More players being attended to on the sideline for their legs cramping up. Cup and Atuwaya lined up as a split backfield. On first down, Federer, and he just threw that one away very smartly. I tell you, he is one game young man. Now, he stands there and does not. He may mind if he gets hit, but he doesn't show it.
No, he took a hit from Travis Smith, and Canary Knight, again, good pressure. You're going to see the pressure on him right here. Takes a 5-step drop, sets up. Nothing's open. Here comes the pressure inside Travis Smith, the linebacker. They got the tight end to the right side here.
Look at the splits, Mike, between the guards and the tackles on both sides. Quick hitter right up the middle. Atuwaya will take it inside the 10-yard line. They're going to say actually he's down at the 10. And it looks like Reggie Grimes got him.
You talk about splits, though, and you notice those splits up here. What happens with the offensive line coach? When you run outside, you want to tighten your splits up. Look at these splits right here and here. They're trying to make those defenders widen out, so they think it's going to be an outside play. And what you do if you're going to run inside, you widen them up to create a running lane for the running back. If you go outside, you sneak them down inside a little bit more.
And that's the reason it was such a nice job by Grimes to not only fight off his man, but stay at home. Third down. They need the 3.5-yard line. Draw play. Atuwaya puts the head down and still fighting. Is going to miss the first down by about 3 yards to Spencer. Marcus Spencer, a sophomore from York, is there to make the tackle. You kick for the tie, don't you?
Yes. Now Spencer made the tackle, but Kelvin Ziegler really stopped the first down because he came up and punished that play to make sure he didn't get the first down. Kelvin Ziegler has played an outstanding football game in the secondary.
Pottsman will come on to attempt the field goal. His career numbers 9 of 15. His longest 47.
Here's the play, Ron. Watch Kelvin Ziegler finish it off, and he made sure the pile went backwards.
This is going to be a 23-yard attempt. We are tied with 1 minute, 20 seconds to play third quarter. It is Alabama 24 and a surging Brigham Young University 24. Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten coming to you from a warm Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And players on both sides, but particularly these young men who have been working out in the altitudes just below the Wasatch up in Provo, Utah. The heat has taken its toll on them.
The trainers and the team doctors become very important now, getting those players back in. I don't know if John David Phillips has returned from the, I don't think he's returned yet from the locker room. And also the fullback, Dustin McClintock's out.
So Zal, I would assume, would continue to work at quarterback.
And now, Ron, here's where when you practice 2/3, 1/3. 2/3 the first team quarterback, 1/3 the second quarterback. But the second quarterback has to watch and learn in all those times the first team quarterback's in there. So Andrew Zal's going to have to deliver this win.
This kick is going to come down to Richard from the 5. Got a big opening. He's going to take this all the way back to the 37-yard line. So the good thing for the youngster Zal, a 32-yard return aids him because he's going to have pretty darn good field position.
Well, BYU, again, I want to give both staffs credit, but BYU has made some nice adjustments. Norm Chow, who probably will be the next head coach at BYU. He's been there a long time. Ken Schmidt, the defensive coordinator. Then on the other side, the Alabama coach is still trying to checkmate with him and trying to make those same moves.
Zal's going to throw on first down. Swings it out, and I'll tell you, that thing was almost intercepted by Brad Martin. as Alexander lost it over his head.
Here's what comes to mind, you know, with 102, if Alabama's going to win this football game, right now BYU's got the momentum. They've got everything going in their favor. There's one player on the field. Now here comes John David Phillips back, but Shaun Alexander has been quiet in the second half. He has not really done anything to speak of. He has to come to play here in the second half. This might be a quarterback draw with Zal.
Yep, that's what they're going to run. And he is going to be wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. That is a nice job by Chris Hoke, sophomore out of Santa Ana, California. Mike, the amazing thing in the first half, of Alabama's 47 plays, 36 of them were run in BYU territory. We talked about what great field position that they had in the first half. They have only, I believe, 2 plays, snaps on the BYU side of the 50 in this half.
A lot of pressure. Field position hasn't been their way, but here Andrew Zal's got to throw the ball down the field here.
Now that's Phillips being attended to on the sideline. The thing that also has to worry, he keeps working his hands like his hands are cramping as well, and arms. Zal gonna be hit and sacked. And again, it is Chris Hoke along with Rob Morris who come in to combine for the sack. And Morris now had 1 in the first half. He has at least a partial, if not the full sack here in the second half. And as I mentioned, he said that's what he wanted to do this season, get some sacks.
Alabama's walking around with a team that's lacking confidence right now. The last year is starting to creep into what they're doing tonight now. Somebody has to pick them up. And it might be number 12.
Well, now it's time to stand and put 4 fingers skyward because we are done with the first 45 minutes of play. That is the end of the third as we head to the final 15. Alabama 24 and BYU 24. Well, we're back to Tuscaloosa, the final 15 minutes, 24-24, and the punt by Daniel Pope. This is a dandy. Spiral turning over. Junior Mahi retreats to the 20-yard line. Mahi then goes down. He got as much as he could, about 9 on the return. We don't see any markers anyplace. Let's check in with Adrian.
Ron, even after 14 minutes in the Alabama locker room, taking glucose solution intravenously, one look at John David Phillips shows you how extreme cramping in these kind of conditions, weather conditions, can become. All the way into the points of his toes and his fingers, especially on his throwing hand. There is no other history of injury here. This is just the results of cramping in these kind of conditions. He didn't take enough fluids early enough in the game. This is the result.
There you can see Dustin McClintock walking the sideline. He's been plagued with the same thing, and also a number of the BYU players that we have pointed out to you. That's Hooks in motion. Federer sets in the pocket, gets his pass, wobbly, incomplete. Hooks is the guy that he wanted. Well, Federer has still another player being worked on the sideline. That's one of the big running backs for Alabama. And I think that's Sataki. You can see he's upset. He wants to play, but impossible to do. If you've ever had cramps and had them really badly, you just can't go. And Tuaya, I'm told, number 35 is who we were looking at. 2nd down and 10. Opening portions of the 4th quarter. Necktie. Travis Carroll, and maybe that's what they need, something like a necktie party from Travis Carroll. Let's check in once again with Larry Beal. Larry?
All right, chasing history. Cubs and Pirates. Sammy Sosa homered earlier in the game, number 58, looking for 59 against Ricardo Rincon. It's high, it's deep, it's foul. Sosa would strike out in the at-bat. He still got 58.
All righty, Larry. On the sideline, you can see number 12, John David Phillips, beginning to loosen up, and now BYU has another player down following the play, and it is Jenkins. And again, the cramps in those calves have just subdued him. He is
Ronnie,
down.
You expect big players to make big plays, and Travis Carroll, who Mike DeBose, the head coach, says is a throwback player, made a big play because he ran inside. He came inside the block and was able to make that tackle on the toss sweep, which is a big play because it puts them at a 3rd and 14 to get the first down.
Well, you know, Travis has this kind of reputation, and like I said, maybe it will take something from the defense to wake up Alabama here in the second half. As Jenkins is up and walking off, And just as we came off that shot of John David Phillips, you can see he grabbed in pain after he threw the pass, so his hand still cramping and bothering him probably now worse than his legs. But on the field of play, it's third down. The line to make is the 38.5-yard line. Federer blitz right at the middle. Can he get away? Travis Carroll will have him. How about 2 big plays in a row?
Travis Smith flushed him out. Travis Carroll made the tackle, and they forced him to go to the right, Ron, and
That's
he
right.
couldn't get turned. He's a left-handed quarterback, and he couldn't get turned. They flushed him to the right side.
So it is punting time, and the crowd, they've been kind of sitting on their hands because BYU has been silenced here in the second half, or Alabama has, I should say. But they were back up and into that one as Hartsfield stands back for the snap. Marvin Richard back deep for Alabama.
They came close and early in the ball game of blocking a kick.
They're coming after him again. This is his best punt of the night. Richard all the way back to the 23-yard line. Return toward the Bama bench, and that is a great job of special teams. Number 37 is, let's see, Shaun. No, wrong team. We'll check it in just a moment. Timeout. We'll be right back.
Oh, hi, honey.
ESPN's presentation of college football, BYU versus Alabama, is brought to you by Yamaha, makers of the new line of Bear ATVs. Yamaha goes out here, Bears rule. And by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Well, they start them young, and they're very pretty when they're young down here as well. Andrew Fales is the man who made the tackle a moment ago. We apologize for not identifying him right off because the roster did not have his name and number on it. But that was a great special teams play. Alexander, the 37 for the team wearing crimson, comes off the right side and picks up about 4, almost 5 yards. Brian Gray is there to tackle him.
And Dustin McClintock has re-entered the ball game, and he was the lead blocker on that counter play to try to get Shaun Alexander in the secondary. But the way they're running their offense, though, Andrew Zau's going to have to make some plays, though, because now BYU's creeping up to try to stop the run a little bit. They know that they've got the second-team quarterback in there. They know that they're going to try to rely on Shaun Alexander. Andrew Zau's going to have to make a play or two.
Boy, look at the first half compared to the second. 13 second half, 77 in the first half for Shaun Alexander. That pass got it complete to Jackson. And did he stay in the field of play? Yeah, the clock will continue to run as we are about to go under 12 minutes left in the ball game. And in case you just joined us, Alabama 24, BYU 24.
Ron, that Brian Gray, who just made the initial hit on that play, the corners, really played well tonight for BYU. Brian Mitchell, the secondary coach, recruited him. He said I promised him he'd start when I went out to El Camino Junior College. He qualified in mid-year. BYU didn't have a scholarship. Kansas, TCU, Iowa State all offered him. He said, I'm going to wait. There's Brian Mitchell. He told me, he says, hey, I knew he'd start because we didn't have anybody else.
Second down. And about 3.5 yards. You see the pressure from the outside, and Alexander is going to be necktied by Keeley.
Well, he just ran over him. That shows you the power of Shaun Alexander.
Shaun, when we were visiting with him, Mike, night before last, it was funny. He said, do you realize that you like playing on ESPN? Because he set the all-time rushing record for Alabama. He came in, he was the number 3 tailback at LSU. And he said, you realize the only reason I went in the game is you guys called a television timeout. They bought Dennis Riddle out of the game. I scored on a 17-yard run, and they left me in. And over 290 yards later, he's in the record books. And he said, my thanks always to ESPN and that television timeout. And he got the first down there.
Somewhere there's a producer, director that should be given a game ball.
Oh, my.
And they're in the truck tonight.
Yeah, because then they left him in the game. He ran 1 for 73, another for 72. I mean, he was just untouchable that night. 291 yards in Baton Rouge.
The most valuable player in that game was Scott Johnson and Ed Placey for stopping the TV timeout.
Oh, my. And boy, when you consider the great backs they've had at this school, that's quite a night. And he did it in only 20 totes. Arvin Richard in the ball game, and the pass too high. And let's check in again with Larry Beal. Larry.
Ohio State and West Virginia, the Mountaineers 0-6 lifetime when facing the top-ranked team in the nation. Mark Bulger trying to lead the comeback here, scrambling around, rolling out to his right. Anybody open? How about Shaun Foreman in the cluster? They're 20-10 at the half. Buckeyes lead.
Here comes John David Phillips, Ron.
Well, let's see what they try to do with him. Straight handoff. They'll let him throw the ball or what? Nice to see.
Maybe a draw here in this situation to Shaun Alexander, or a shuffle, or.
Well, the pass is thrown complete to Alexander. And you see Rob Morris, number 44, coming from that middle linebacking spot to come out and make the hit. We'll try to double check and see how many stops Morris has in the ball game. But as we predicted, he would be from sideline to sideline. We understand it says 7. I would have thought it would have been higher, quite frankly.
Well, with the passing, Ron, he hasn't been involved as much. But Rob Morris, Brad Martin, and Byron Frisch, they make a lot of the plays for this BYU defense.
Well, look at all the wide receivers to the bottom of the screen. 8 of 8 on third down conversions, but they don't have one in the second half. They haven't had a third down. Quick looking pass, incomplete. So they're human. They missed this one. They're now 8 of 9, as Jackson was the guy that they were looking for. And they'll have to punt it away with 10:08 to play.
Well, they had him. He was right there. They put a blitz on. They came with 6 people and were able to get to John David Phillips. He had the ball right on the money to Quincy Jackson. Couldn't hold on.
Here's Mahi, who is back to return this punt by Daniel Pope. Came over this one and knocked it out of bounds, and they're going to walk up to close to the 30-yard line. So there's a break in the action. 10:01 to play. We're still tied at 24. Well, the lights, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 10:01 to play in the ball game, and we're knotted at 24. It is a first down for the Cougars of BYU, and they have it at their own 28. And this is Mahi with the running play. Gets by one tackler, and is going to fight it out for about 7, almost 8 yards. Well, coming up next, Colorado State tailback Kevin McDougal was the difference maker last week as the Rams defeated Michigan State. And tonight, they take on the Colorado Buffaloes at a huge Rocky Mountain rival. We'll head out to Mile High Stadium in Denver as soon as we're finished here in Tuscaloosa. I think there's several. We're going to stick around in the truck and let the crowd leave and watch at least the first half. Chris Ellison being taped on the sideline for the Cougars. Draw as Federer is going to take it forward for the first down at the 40-yard line. Travis Carroll will stop him.
I'm not sure that was a draw. I'm not sure he didn't fumble that football and then just take off with it. The snap didn't look like it came back to him. Let's see. Snap, no. He didn't get the snap, so he sees the hole. And he picks up, he's wise to pick up a couple yards before Travis Carroll could make that tackle.
Well, what's great is Jimmy Richards didn't move any place. He was kind of bouncing the ball off his backside.
Sometimes that works. There are teams that quarterbacks sneaked in the pass, run and shoot teams where the lineman wouldn't move. The quarterback would just go.
So it's a first down BYU. Draw play again. This is Cup. And he's going to fight his way forward for a couple, maybe 3. Warren Faust, senior out of Midwest City, who was a quarterback, now in the secondary for Alabama.
They've heard Alabama more running the football here in the second half than passing the football. That draw trap right there, that's synonymous with BYU offensive football. Now, teams that have played against them in the past, they try to stop that, but a team that's just seeing it for the first time have trouble with it. And they get trapped.
Look at the rushing yards. 75 BYU to 4 after Alabama dominated the first half rushing the football. Federer got him open and couldn't hold on. Margin hooks. Ball just a little bit underthrown. You can see Kevin Sigler trying to cover, but he had him beaten.
What happens on that play on the outside, the receiver Margin Hooks is saying, I should have had this. On the outside, that receiver is going to clear out. He's going to take off down the field, and then Margin Hooks is going to break to the outside. And he's got quite a cushion on Kelvin Ziegler. And that ball should have been completed. And he knew when he got right up, he's pointed to himself. He said, I should have caught that football.
Third down. They need to take it to the 50-yard line to keep this one going. About to go under 8 minutes left in the ball game. The crowd trying to help out the Crimson Tide. Federer gets it away. It is intercepted by Fernando Bryant.
Ron, I've said it every time in all the ball games, your great players step up at moments you need them to step up. Now, Kevin Federer trying to make something happen. That's Aaron Roderick. He's coming all the way across the field now. Kevin Federer's being flushed out right now. Now he sees him, but Fernando Bryant just jumps on the football, makes that interception. Here's the play of Kevin Federer. Good pressure by Warren Fowles. There's the interception by Fernando Bryant.
When Roderick should have stayed and felt that pressure, he could have helped keep down or away the interception at least. Pass complete. McClintock puts a head down and fumbled the ball, but he fumbled it out of bounds.
Ron, what they're doing here is they're showing a sprint draw play. And what makes it look like it's going to be a run to Shaun Alexander, and the fullback usually blocks on this play. We're going to stop it right here. It's Dustin McClintock. They think it's going to be a sprint draw, but he usually blocks. But now he's going right free release in the flat, and Shaun Alexander picks up the block, and that's why he's so wide open. It's disguised very well for Dustin McClintock to come out of the backfield.
Mike, the snap coming up is only the third snap by Alabama in BYU territory this half.
Well, they've dominated. BYU has dominated here in the second half to this point.
In the first half, Alabama took 36 snaps in BYU territory. As the reverse to Vaughn. Turns it up, has the first down, and runs into his own man. Samuels outside blocking. It is a first down, Crimson Tide.
Well, anytime you have a reverse, the side that the reverse is going to go, that tackle has to go down inside to draw his man down inside. Then he peels around the side and leads the player that's coming around. Let's see if we can watch Chris Samuels. There he comes down inside. Now he'll come out on the outside to help lead this sweep. You're going to see the big body come right out there, make a good block.
And it was Terry Jones who knocked him down. His own man. First down at the 28. Shaun Alexander has 5, has 10, and he's out to the races. Touchdown, Alexander. 28 yards. Himself in the record book. 4 touchdowns and a game rushing.
Ron, I was going to say Jason McAdley, the wide receiver, made a big block on that play because Brian Gray, the corner, you want to set a picket fence on the outside to not let this thing get outside. But we talked about the cutback ability of Shaun Alexander. Now all of a sudden he breaks to the outside. There's the block right here. That's got to be a picket fence to force him back inside. You can't let him outside. Brian Gray got caught inside by Jason McAdley, and that's the touchdown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, so a very big extra point. This is from 35 yards away, and he got it. Now, to continue my thought, he goes into the record book, does Alexander, with 4 rushing touchdowns, and that ties him with Johnny Musso and actually himself, because he had 4 against LSU. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Alabama goes on top 31-24. Shaun Alexander visiting with his quarterback, John David Phillips. 4 touchdowns tonight as you look at the scoring drive for Shaun Alexander. Diaz's kick. Horton 5 yards deep and almost made a big mistake. That would have been running a huge red light.
Alabama with a nice drive. The last drive. John David Phillips back on the field. Fernando Bryant setting it up. And then the big tailback, Shaun Alexander, finishing off. But BYU's far from finished, Ron. This is a good veteran football team.
You could see the smile on the face of Fernando Bryant, though. I mean, you have to. He is a fun kid, and if you like his joie de vivre, he enjoys playing this sport, and he loves the fact that he made right now what is the winning interception to turn this football game around. But as Mike said, BYU far from done. Federer, little play action, and Alpenaway lost his footing, and for the way he's walking, he's cramping up as well.
Yeah, he's going to have to come out. Kevin Federer just needs to get a little bit more height on that ball to give his tight end a chance to run with it. They got a lot of time here. BYU's used to this situation in the WAC, a lot of scoring. They're used to being in this kind of situation to put points on the board.
Well, Alpenaway is going to stay in the ball game. Nino is in there as well with the second down and short. Junior Mahi fights his way shy of the 30. Not enough for the first. It's third. Now that clock beginning to motor. About to go under 6 minutes to play. Don't forget, as soon as this one is over, we'll be heading to Mile High Stadium. The first collegiate game played there. It's Colorado State in Colorado.
A lot of extra defensive linemen coming in for Alabama, figuring a third and short play here.
And Donnie Atuwaya will come in, number 35, a big bruiser fullback. Quarterback sneak, and Frederick appears to have the first down.
Well, almost looked like he fumbled that snap again, that he's having problems getting the snap from the center. Good movement by that offensive line of Roger French's, the offensive line coach. Both these teams, Ron, have played their hearts out tonight. This has been a very entertaining football game and a very well-coached football game on both sides.
Cup and Mahi, the setbacks. They're in an I formation with a first down at the 30-yard line. BYU fumbled the snap. Alabama recovers at the 30-yard line. Reggie Grimes. And Mike, you're right. It was another fumbled snap from center.
It just looked like the last 2 or 3 plays he was not getting the ball clean. Now, he needs to tell his center, Jimmy Richards, that he's having a problem. I don't know if they communicated it or not, but that's about the 3rd or 4th bad center. And that ball is recovered by Alabama's Reggie Grimes. So Alabama in business. Get a little tired, your uniform gets a little wet sometimes, and the ball doesn't come up to the quarterback's hands.
So a fumbled snap from center. Alabama with an opportunity to put this one away as Alexander hit in the backfield, breaks one, will not break the second tackle, and it's Ellison who makes the stop. Larry Beal, what do you have for us?
Well, Ron, while Alabama tries to seal the deal, Colorado and Colorado State are just getting underway at Mile High Stadium. If anything happens in that game, we'll bring it to you, and then as soon as BYU and Bama are done, we'll switch over to that game. Right now, it's all you, Ron.
All righty. Mike, I think that probably is the biggest game ever for Colorado State for one reason. Not only did they put themselves in a position to run the table in the WAC, in the recruiting heaven right there in Denver, to win that would win a lot of bragging rights, wouldn't it?
Without a doubt. I'll tell you, there's got to be a hold right there. I'll tell you, BYU is going to get away. Now they didn't get away with the hold. You could see the fullback and McClintock, his jersey's pulled off. I mean, he was held all the way. That's got to be the call. The outside linebacker, I believe it was Derek Stevenson wouldn't let him off the line of scrimmage because he would have been wide open and the hold would have been just obvious. But go back to what you said about the Colorado. I think it's bigger for Colorado because everybody expects Colorado to beat Colorado State. So I think more pressure's on Colorado out there. But I agree with you. Colorado State has a great opportunity. There's the hold right here. I mean, he's holding him. That's big-time wrestling right there.
Holding on the defense.
It's Keel.
Ball occurred behind the
Ed Keel.
10 yards. Previous spot. Still second down.
That's a big penalty right there. That's Barry Lamb, the linebacker coach, talking with Lavelle Edwards.
If you just joined us, 4:14 left in the ball game. Alabama 31-24, and they have just picked up a fumbled snap from center and are driving inside the 25-yard line of BYU. Shaun Alexander, nothing outside on the left, and he wisely just goes down as Keel falls on him. Now it's going to be third down. Mike, do you simply run this thing back into the middle of the field, try to kick a field goal with under 4 minutes to play?
I wouldn't take a lot of chances right here. I got a quarterback and I'm not sure is that healthy. I'd get the ball in the hands or a safe pass, you know, something that they've thrown all night. Otherwise, just give it to Shaun Alexander and set the field goal up, like you said. We talked about at the beginning of the game, he had to run the ball 25+ times for them to win.
It's Vaughn in motion. And they roll the pocket, and there's your safe pass. That's Quincy Jackson, and it is so safe it's going to be first and goal.
That's as safe as you can get, Ron. You sprint the quarterback out to the side and keep him away from any inside pressure. You get a little flat route out of Quincy Jackson. You get a little pick if they're in man coverage, which they weren't. And you get a good zone pass. There's Quincy Jackson, number 7. He's just going to release out in the flat. Good block by Shaun Alexander. That's the other thing. There's nobody around Quincy Jackson. But go back to the block by Shaun Alexander. We've talked about him running the football, but he also blocks.
11 receptions for Quincy Jackson. 7 was his high watermark. He broke his personal record in the first half. Alexander trying to make it 5 touchdowns. Going to be spun down at the 5. And actually, they don't need to be in a hurry to score. 3 minutes and 10 and counting left in the ball game. And a 7-point cushion right now, trying to make it 14.
Look, good block again by Chris Samuels, the offensive left tackle. He's been a dominant offensive lineman for Alabama tonight. He has got good size, 6'6", 285, a junior.
Well, I have a feeling he also would like to get Shaun Alexander into the end zone and let him break his own record.
All Mike DeBose wants right now, he'd like to have that, but he just wants to see 1 or 2 more points on that board just to get off of 7.
On second down, it goes straight ahead, and McClintock barrels his way to around the 2-yard line.
You start to think if you're BYU about using your timeouts here. Now you got 2 left. It's 2:12. A lot of clock times are leaving you right now.
Sweep to the right, Alexander.
They've done so well. You're probably right. They've done so well on the power play where the fullback leads him inside off tackle. You know, it's outside a little bit, but not outside where he can get off the tight end's block. They're using as much. This is a smart job by Alabama. They're using as much clock as they possibly can use.
Better hurry now. It's down to 2, down to 1. He got it off, and it's Alexander on the right side. Touchdown, and he's in the record books. 5 rushing touchdowns tonight. I'm just really proud of that record. I'll tell you, in this second half, BYU had really taken the momentum away. But the big play, and the guy that you got to put the crown on, is number 25, Fernando Bryant, in the interception, because he turned this football game around.
Without a doubt, he turned the game around, and number 37 made a contribution.
We'll be right back.
We asked the Hartford Wolfpack to try the Norelco reflex action for 21 days. There were signs of resistance.
Larry Beal back in the studio, promised to bring you everything that happens in Colorado State. There's a penalty on the first kickoff, so they kicked again. This one counts, and it counts 48 yards for Ben Kelly. Buffs driving at the Rams 29. No score first quarter. Back to Bama.
So we're getting ready to kick it off here. Larry, a minute and 38 seconds left. And as you said, we'll be heading to Mile High Stadium for that game between Colorado State and Colorado. Diaz kick 2 yards deep. This is Horton, and Horton breaks it to the outside, and is going to be tackled finally at the 25-yard line.
Ron, Mike DeBose tonight has got to feel very, very good. Took a lot of criticism last year. 4-7, but I really believe this program's on the right track, and I think Mike DeBose has done an outstanding job preparing his football team for this opening football game. He's got a good staff, they got a good plan, and the players are playing hard for him.
Sakonic is the new center. You can see Jimmy Richards on the sideline. This pass is caught. That's Horton. And still fighting, picked up an extra 3 yards after the completion. That'll be enough for the first down. A minute and 22 seconds left. And these young men know it's going to be a difficult trip, a long one back to Provo. They don't get back until like 3 a.m. And they've got some real tough customers coming up on their schedule, Mike.
And they beat Arizona State last year, so they got them coming for the home opener. But I know those people out in Provo are going to support their football team because they gave a great effort tonight, Ron. They really played hard.
Well, they came totally off the floor now. There's no question about that. They were down, but they didn't count themselves out. As you look at Mahi, this youngster before the year's over, he's going to be a difference maker.
Something to be reckoned with.
He's got 11 yards in that play as we're about to go under 1 minute left in the ball game. And the other monkey that Mike DeBose is going to get off his back, it's his first win here at Denny Stadium. They lost. They were 0-4 here last year. First time in the history of the program that they were winless at home. Federer's pass. Got it complete at the 40. And Hooks wheeled out of bounds at the 35.
All of a sudden, BYU striking down there. They don't believe that they're done yet. They feel like they can still win this football game. Kevin Federick with a good throw there. They still have 2 timeouts if they could push one in quick. A nice game plan by Norm Chow tonight. Robbie Bosco, Roger French, the offensive coaches.
Federick under pressure got hit as he delivered it, and it goes incomplete. Boy, that thing could have been picked off as Clint Wagner had him from behind.
There may be a flag on this. There may be a hold on Alabama in the secondary.
That thing it's way down there. You're right. You're right. Defensive holding against the Crimson Tide. Well, tonight's Visa players of the game are from BYU, Rob Morris, 14 tackles and 2 sacks. And from Alabama, Shaun Alexander, record performance, 5 rushing touchdowns tonight. As part of their continued effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa proud to donate $1,000 on behalf of these athletes to their school's General Scholarship Fund.
Shaun Alexander had 25 carries, exactly what Mike DeBose, Charlie Stubbs, and Neil Callaway wanted out of him tonight. BYU needs to score here quickly.
Got 47 seconds left on the clock. See the blitz right up the middle. They pick it up, and he just puts it up. And it's going to go incomplete, and there's a flag. And this one, it looks as though is going to be called on Fernando Brigham.
I don't know, Ron. This might go against BYU, too. This is going to be an interesting call right here. You're exactly right, Well, I'll tell you what, now this is an interesting call. Aaron Roderick, the receiver, was trying to come back for the ball. Fernando Bryant was trying to come back for the ball. Let's watch it. Not called yet. Now he's trying to come back for the ball. Now the flag comes out. And then Aaron Roderick saying he held him, held his jersey.
No, but they didn't call holding. Called pass interference. So
this
anyway,
is a big break for BYU.
Boy, I'm telling you, 41 seconds left, and the ball is at the 10-yard line. Folks, if they score right here, little onside kick, we could have a really interesting.
It's a white knuckler here for Mike DeBose and Lavelle Edwards. We're going to use a timeout here. Alabama, which saves BYU their 2 timeouts.
So it's 38-24, 41 seconds left, but BYU is driving, and it gives us an opportunity. Let's go to Mile High Stadium. Charlie Steiner, bring us up to date on what's happening in your ball game.
And we welcome you to Mile High Stadium. We are just underway. 8 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the first quarter. Colorado with the early 3-0 lead. A 12-play, 36-yard drive capped off by a Jeremy Aldrich 34-yard field goal that hit the upright and fell through. But Colorado got off to the big start as Ben Kelly had a huge kickoff return. And so the Buffaloes on the first series began in Colorado State territory. Let's take a look at the field goal that Jeremy Aldrich just did manage to get through.
The snap was a little bit off, and you can see how the ball is spinning. It's a little bit wobbly, not your normal end over end. Rick Neuheisel with the kind of resigned look on his face, but he's grateful, able to salvage 3 points.
Now let's go back to the conclusion of the Alabama-BYU game. Here's Ron Franklin. Ron?
Okay, Charlie, we'll get it back to you just as soon as we can. Time is back in from the 9-yard line. It's a draw play, and boy, he went the wrong way. Cook should have kept outside to the left. He had a lane, and he's going to be stopped after a gain of 1.
Well, you can spend 1 timeout now. You take 1 shot with a running play to try to catch the defense off guard, run a little trap. They've had success trapping Alabama all night. But again, he didn't stay outside, forced back inside, but you can use your timeout, stop it with 32 seconds.
ESPN Sunday Night Football debuts tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern with one of the NFL's great rivalries. The Oakland Raiders battle the defending AFC West champion Kansas City Chiefs. Then ABC Monday Night Football from Mile High Stadium in Denver. John Elway and the Super Bowl champion Broncos take on the New England Patriots at a new start time, 7 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Now there's a former Raider, Ken Stabler. I don't know if he doesn't want to look right now or what. As we mentioned earlier, Eli Gold sitting to his left, the play-by-play announcer for the Alabama Crimson Tide. First year of duty in the booth for the Snake.
Now, Kenny said he was going to stay with the freshmen for a week in the dormitory, and I said, can you imagine that night with those freshmen saying, hey, Kenny, where are we going to go tonight?
Coach DeBose might have thought better of that. A little different curfew rule.
Yeah, Kenny didn't understand that.
Second down. Federer sets in the pocket. Finally gets it away and just throws it away.
Well, he'd like to have that one back.
Mike, there are markers down. He could have been beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw it.
Or a lineman downfield. Nope, it's quarterback. You're right. Past the line of scrimmage. See, he was in no man land right there. He couldn't decide whether he wanted to run it. He knew there was a limited time, and he tried to make that throw to get the quick touchdown.
Now Fernando Bryant cramping and can't get up.
Pass. Passer is beyond the neutral zone. 5 yards, spotted the pass. Lost it down. 3rd down.
So Bill McDonald, who is the trainer for The Alabama Crimson Tide comes on with his guys, and they start to work their magic. George Curtis, the trainer for BYU. These fellows have been really, really busy in this second half tonight. Fernando still being worked on.
Ron, BYU in September, we talked about it. Arizona State coming in next week with revenge on their mind. Washington at Washington, and one of my former schools, Murray State's going to go out there on September 26th for a payday. But Murray State will take a pretty good football team out there. I was talking to Lavelle Edwards about Murray State. They have a lot of respect for them, and they're coming off those 3 bruising teams, and they feel like that the crowd may look at Murray State and say that's not going to be much of a game, but Murray State has some athletes.
You know, North Carolina found out about paydays today. that was the same team, though, that messed up Northwestern's season, was it not? The year they went to the Rose Bowl. Miami of Ohio.
They've been known to knock a lot of teams off in their proud history.
Fernando Bryant receiving a good hand from this home crowd, being helped off the field. The Cramps finally have gotten the best of him. Here's that score I was talking about. Miami of Ohio upsetting North Carolina.
Well, Georgia took care of the other Mid-American. Kent.
Look, San Diego State's come back and tied Wisconsin at 7.
In Ohio, you had North Carolina State beaten the other night and had a punt block late in the game.
Federer running up. He's going to have to run this one at the 5, and he will walk it in for the touchdown. And they have only 15 seconds left on the clock.
What happens on this play, Ron? Man coverage. Everybody's running with a man. The rush goes by the quarterback, Kevin Federer. He takes off, gets a score. Now you've got to get your good hands team ready over on the Alabama sideline. The BYU, you need the onside kick return, and there's still time here and still one timeout. Kevin Federer. Here's the man-for-man coverage. You stop right here. Linebackers running with the back. Kevin Federer takes off.
So the extra point attempt is up, and it's good. It's a 7-point game, but we have only 15 seconds left on the clock. So now the onside kick. And let's take this opportunity to go back to Mile High Stadium. Charlie Steiner standing by. Colorado had gone on top 3-0 early. Charlie, what do you got for us, buddy?
It's been all Colorado early going here, Ron. They took the early lead 3-0 on a 34-yard field goal by Jeremy Aldridge. And then Colorado State was quickly 3 and out, and the Buffaloes have the ball back, and for the second time in as many plays, they are in Colorado State territory. 2nd down and 5 at the 48-yard line of Colorado State.
Okay, Charlie, because we're stepping on your game, but we promised to send you all of our BYU notes when this game is over, since you have them against Arizona State next week.
And plus, he's got a BYU guy working right beside him, Todd Christensen.
That's exactly right. As you look on at the head coach at Brigham Young, now in his 27th year.
And I hope he goes on and stays there and coaches. As he told you, he's having fun.
He's having fun, and he said until it changes, I plan on being here unless they don't want me to be here, and I don't think that's the case.
No.
Here comes the onside kick. Then you see McClintock is the first SEC official on the play. He's saying that they've got it. Alabama football. Tim Bowens, one of the wide receivers, gets on the football, part of the good hands team for the Crimson Tide, and now they got 12 seconds to work off the clock, and they will post victory number 1 of this 1998 season. John David Phillips takes the snap, goes down on one knee. And this one is history. Alabama wins for the first time under Mike DuBose here in Tuscaloosa. Final score, Alabama 38, BYU 31. And for Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten, our entire ESPN crew, Ron Franklin saying so long from Tuscaloosa. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now let's head to Denver.